Imagine this, you're standing in a misty forest at dawn, heart pounding, eyes locked on a wild Pikachu, sparking with untamed energy. You've battled it to the brink, and now it's your moment. You reach into your bag, fingers closing around that smooth red and white sphere, the Poké Ball. With a flick of your wrist, it sails through the air, bursts open in a flash of light, and click, victory. That electric thrill, it's been the heartbeat of Pokémon since day one. But what if I told you that little ball hiding in your pocket has a story deeper than any legendary encounter? A saga spanning ancient handcrafted origins, revolutionary inventions, and over 3 dozen specialized variants designed for every scenario imaginable. Welcome to the complete history of every Pokeball type in existence. I'm your guide through this epic dive, and buckle up, because over the next 3 hours, we're unpacking it all. The lore, the science, the evolutions, and the mind-blowing reasons why there are so many balls in the first place. If you're a die-hard trainer who's ever wondered why your Ultra Ball whiffed on that shiny, while a random timer ball sealed the deal, or if you're just here for the wild Pokemon universe lore that ties it all together, this is your ultimate playbook. Hit that like button if you're ready to level up your knowledge. Subscribe for more deep dives into the Pokemon world, and let's hurl ourselves into history. It all starts way before the shiny factories of modern Kalos or the bustling labs of Sinnoh. Picture the rugged wilds of Hisui thousands of years ago, or at least in Pokemon timeline terms. Back then, Pokemon roamed free, untamed allies or foes to early humans who lived in harmony or tension with these incredible creatures. No mass-produced gadgets here. The first Poké Balls? They were born from nature itself, Apricorns. These tough, nut-like seeds from Apricorn trees picture oversized acorns in shades of black, white, red, yellow, blue, green, pink, were hand-carved by artisans into crude but effective capture devices. In Pokemon Legends, Arceus, we get our clearest glimpse into this primal era. Pokeballs aren't commonplace. They're a recent invention in Hisui, a game-changer whispered about like fire was to cavemen. Before that, Pokemon weren't routinely stuffed into balls. Trainers walked with their partners, rode them, or faced them in raw battles without storage. Crafting an Apricorn ball was ritualistic. You'd select the right colour for the Pokemon's type. Black for ghost or dark vibes, white for normal, you get the idea. Hollow it out, ferment it with special pastes from Kurt the Craftsman in Johto lore, and boom, your one-shot wonder. Success wasn't guaranteed. These balls had quirky throw mechanics, relying on arcs and timing more than stats. Miss and you'd scare the Pokemon off, or anger it into a frenzy. Fast forward through centuries of trial, error, and epic tales. Folklore from Johto speaks of ancient balls like the GS Ball, a mystical precursor tied to Celebi's time ripples. But the real revolution hits in the 20th century, or Pokemon's version of it. Enter 1925, a pivotal year etched in Pokédex entries. A brilliant researcher at a prestigious university, name lost to some lore discrepancies but credited nonetheless, unveils the first mass-produced Pokeball. No more scavenging Apricorns in the wild, now it's sleek metal and plastic, engineered for reliability. Red top, white bottom, that iconic button, catch rate standardized at 1x, but scalable for the masses. Suddenly every aspiring trainer from Kanto to Paldea could chase their dreams without being a master carver. Why the shift? Pokemon populations exploded as regions urbanized. Wild encounters surged, and trainers needed tools to manage teams without exhaustion. These modern balls miniaturized Pokemon via spatial distortion tech, Pokemon lore's handwave, for pocket dimensions, keeping Mons healthy, happy, and ready for battle. But here's the genius twist. Innovation didn't stop at the basic model. As trainers pushed boundaries, diving oceans, scaling mountains, breeding dynasties, scientists responded with specialization. What began as a simple capsule evolved into an arsenal, each ball a tactical nuke for specific scenarios. Think about it. Why lug a standard Poké Ball into a midnight cave when you could pack something purpose-built? Enter the Great Ball, roughly 1.5 times the catch power, perfect for stubborn mid-tier foes. Then the Ultra Ball at 2x, the go-to for high-stakes hunts. And at the apex, the Master Ball, guaranteed capture, no shakes, no fails. Legend has it only a handful exist per region, doled out for legendaries like Mewtwo or Rayquaza. Use it wisely or regret it forever. But the variety explodes from there, tailoring to environments, behaviours, even Pokemon psychology. Surfing the waves, dive balls multiply effectiveness underwater, stalking bugs or water types. Net balls net you the edge, low-level newbie catches. Nest balls scale up inversely with level, squishier foes go down easy. Caught that species before? Repeat balls reward your Pokédex grind. Battles dragging? Timer balls tick up catch rate with every turn, punishing stallers. Night owls and spelunkers rejoice. Dusk balls dominate caves or after dark. Speed demons on turn 1. Quick balls strike first and hard. Breeders love luxury balls for instant friendship boosts, speeding hatching and evolutions. Heal balls patch up the wounded mid-hunt, restoring HP and status. Even cosmetics get love with Premier Balls, those sleek white spheres, from 10 capture milestones or events. And that's just scratching the surface. Safari zones demand Safari Balls for their no battle, bait and throw rules. Hisui throws curveballs, pun intended, with regionals like wing balls for flyers, jet balls for speedsters, and heavy balls, wrestling bruisers. Story-locked gems like the park, Ball from Pal Park, or Cherish Balls for event mythicals add exclusivity. We're talking 34 core variants, ballooning to 38 plus, with gen-specific oddities, each with lore tying back to real-world inspirations or game balance genius. This diversity isn't random, it's Pokemon's love letter to strategy. In a world where type matchups and stats rule, balls let you outsmart the meta. Underwater raid, dive, cave grind, dusk, shiny hunt marathon? Tailor your stack. It mirrors our world's tools from fishing lures to surgical scalpels, evolving with need. Lore-wise, contradictions abound. Anime shows handhelds shrinking humans, manga dives into ball innards as cozy habitats. Games hint at ethical debates on imprisoning Pokemon. Yet consensus holds. Balls are consensual tech, with Mons able to break free if unhappy. Why does this matter now, in 2024, post-Scarlet and Violet? Because terrestrial paradoxes and open-world hunts demand mastery. That Master Ball on a random Ogerpon, waste. Quick Ball on a fleeing Peturant, genius. Understanding ball history unlocks pro-level play, lore appreciation, and those aha moments, rewatching the anime or replaying Legends. Over the next 3 hours, we'll time travel from Apricorn caves to factory lines, dissect every ball's debut, effects, best uses, and hidden stories. We'll debunk myths like why Master Balls aren't infinite, reveal dev-intended secrets, rank them for your bag, and even speculate on future balls for Gen 10. Expect surprises. Balls that heal, balls that luxury up. Balls banned in competitive play. Whether you're theory crafting or casual catching, this changes everything. If that fires you up, smash like, drop your favourite ball in comments, ultra or bust, and subscribe with bell on. We're not just catching them all, we're understanding why. Let's roll! Before the balls, long before any trainer ever tossed a Poké Ball, humans and Pokemon shared the world on equal terms. Wild Pokemon roamed freely, shaping human history just as much as we shaped theirs. No spheres to shrink them down, no devices to command their loyalty. Everything hinged on raw, unbreakable trust. Picture the ancient world through what we've pieced together from lore and archaeology. In regions like Hisui, thousands of years ago, early humans didn't chase Pokemon with tools. They lived among them. Villages dotted the landscape, but boundaries were blurred. Pokemon herds grazed alongside livestock. Flying types soared over campsites, without a second glance. You wake up one morning and a pack of Growlithe is curled up by your fire for warmth. That's coexistence, not conquest. Archaeologists have unearthed stunning evidence from ruins across the Pokémon world. Take the ancient cave systems in what we now call Sinnoh. Wall carvings depict humans offering fruits to a massive onyx, not battling it, but kneeling in respect. Nearby stone tablets show handprints side by side, human and Pokémon, etched into rock as symbols of alliance. These aren't myths, they're tangible proof. In the Johto ruins, pottery shards bear marks from beedrill stingers, used as stamps by early artisans who worked with bug types daily. No Poké Balls in sight, just mutual understanding. How did they do it? Ancient trainers, if we can even call them that, built bonds through patience and shared survival. You'd spend days tracking a wild Raiden through mountains, not to weaken it, but to prove your worth. Offer it rare minerals from deep caves, sing songs that mimic its roars to show harmony. Battles happened, sure, but they were tests of honor, not domination. Win or lose, the Pokémon decided if it stayed. Imagine facing a charging Tauros herd. Instead of capturing the leader, you stand your ground, match its charge with a spear of woven vines, and roar back until it bows its head in respect. That Tauros might follow you for weeks, protecting your clan, then vanish back to the wild when it chose. No force, no recall, pure choice. These bonds ran deep. Legends speak of the first great wanderers, humans who travelled with legendary Pokémon as equals. Think of a cloaked figure crossing deserts with a free-roaming Entei at their side. Flames flickering not in threat, but companionship. Or shamans in misty forests calling upon a Celebi through rituals of gratitude. The time traveller appearing not because it was summoned, but invited. You feel the weight of that trust. One betrayal, and it's gone forever. Yet it worked. Clans thrived because Pokémon saw humans as partners, not prisons. But here's where it gets real. This free coexistence wasn't all peaceful picnics. Far from it. Without capture devices, Pokémon roamed utterly unchecked, and that chaos defined daily life. Human settlements became battlegrounds for survival. You'd hear the ground shake as a stampede of Donphan barreled through markets, toppling huts like toys. Villages in early Kanto lore describe nights when hordes of Zubat swarmed from caves, blotting out the moon and driving people underground. Fishermen in Hoenn's ancient coasts faced endless raids by Sharpedo packs, boats splintered in seconds. No Ultra Balls to turn the tide, just barricades, torches, and desperate pleas to the wild. Records from ruined libraries in Unova paint vivid pictures. One scroll details a great rampage where a single, unchallenged Tyranitar leveled 3 settlements in a single night. Its rage unchecked because no one could contain it. Families fled into the wilderness, only to huddle with wild Audino for protection. Chaos reigned. Pokémon weren't villains, they were nature unleashed. A curious Cubone might wander into a home. Fine, but when a full Gyarados evolved in a river during flood season, entire riversides evacuated. Humans adapted with walls of thorns grown by friendly Bellsprout, or alliances with territorial Arcanine packs to guard borders. Still, the toll was immense. Life expectancy dropped in high Pokémon density areas. Innovation stalled under constant threat. You might wonder, how did society even function? They innovated around the wildness. Early festivals doubled as bonding rituals, where humans and Pokémon competed in games of strength. Picture rhythmic drum circles, drawing in dancing Ludicolo, their joy sinking heartbeats across species. Healers learned from Chansey, trading herbs for eggs that sustained villages through winters. Warriors trained alongside fighting types, sparring until blood mingled on the dirt, forging loyalties that outlasted lifetimes. But the dangers loomed large. One wrong move, like encroaching on a Vulpix den, and retaliation could wipe out a generation. Dive deeper into the evidence, and it shocks even hardcore fans. In Kalos ruins, excavated murals show human leaders negotiating with a pride of Luxray during sieges, offering territory in exchange for passage. No Master Ball guarantees, just words and willpower. Galar's ancient barrows hold bones of humans buried with Pokémon remains, tails curled around hands in eternal vigil. These weren't captured partners, they chose to stay until the end. Yet the flip side terrified. Folklore from Paldea warns of the wild nights, eras when legendary storms unleashed by rampaging Rayquaza forced humanity into hidden enclaves, whispering prayers for mercy. This era shaped everything we know about training today. Modern Poké Balls evolved from necessity, born of that brutal balance. Without them, trainers were nomads by default. Your team was whoever shadowed you that season. A loyal Sither for hunts, a Pidgeot for scouting. Lose trust? They left. Gain it? You'd have an army of the wild at your call. Think about your own journeys. That first Charmander you caught? In ancient times, it'd have to earn your fire by choice, not a ball's click. But the chaos peaked, settlements grew, resources strained. Pokémon migrations clashed with expanding farms. A single Herdia pack could devour a season's harvest. Alolan tapestries depict kings pleading with Tapu guardians, wild forces demanding tribute to spare the land. Unchecked power led to unchecked destruction. You'd hear tales around campfires of entire tribes vanishing into the maw of a wild Regirock awakened too soon. Fear bred resentment, then desperation for control. What does this mean for us? It redefines Pokémon as sovereign beings. They weren't waiting for balls, they chose alliance. Ruins prove it. Temples with altars for voluntary offerings, no chains or spheres. In Ore's dusty canyons, petroglyphs show humans fleeing Wailord beaching on shores, floods of chaos swallowing ports. Yet amid the ruin, bonds endured. A child befriending a lost Ralts, its psychic waves guiding lost travelers home. You see the pattern. Trust was the only tool. Ancient texts from Galar describe bond walks, marathons where aspirants lived nude in the wild, surviving on what Pokémon shared. Succeed and you'd return with a lifelong companion. Fail, and nature claimed you. Harsh, but it weeded out the unworthy. This purity of partnership? Modern training echoes it faintly, in friendship levels and mega evolutions fueled by heart. Now, the shocking truth hits hardest. Pokémon didn't just roam, they ruled. Human history's dark ages, blame the wild. Mass migrations of Beartic in Sinnoh's ice ages crushed proto-cities under avalanches of fury. Hoenn's seafaring clans abandoned oceans after Kyogre's unchecked whims drowned fleets. No dive balls to dive deep and negotiate, just prayers to the waves. Villages innovated traps of illusion with friendly Zoroark, but escapes were legend. Chaos wasn't occasional, it was the norm. You'd build a home only for a colony of Durant to tunnel beneath, collapsing it overnight. Survival meant constant vigilance, alliances fluid as wind. Yet wonder persisted. Imagine dawn breaking over a valley, humans and Pokémon awakening together. A shared howl with a pack of mighty Aina signals the hunt. This idyllic peril set the stage for change. Early sages pondered containment, sketching fruits that could hold power. But true revolution brewed in the forests where a certain nut grew wild. And that's where our story explodes into Chapter 2, the Apricorn Revolution. How did humble seeds spark the Poké Ball era? Taming the untamable. You won't want to miss what ancient crafters discovered next. The Apricorn Revolution. Deep in the shadowed forests of ancient Hisui, where twisted trees clawed at the sky and wild Pokémon roamed unchallenged, a humble nut changed everything. That nut? The Apricorn. Hard-shelled, colourful pods hanging from rare trees. They weren't just food or tools for early tribespeople. No, these were the spark of the Apricorn Revolution, the very first step toward taming the untamable. Moment with me. You're a tribal scout foraging miles from your village when you stumble upon a cluster of these vibrant apricorns swaying in the wind. red ones like fresh blood, blue like deep ocean waves, yellow glowing like captured sunlight, white pristine as fresh snow, black as midnight voids, pink soft as dawn blush. You've seen Pokémon feast on them before, cracking them open with powerful jaws, but something clicks. What if their tough shells could hold a Pokémon inside? Not just contain it, but capture it whole. That question ignited the revolution. Word spread like wildfire through scattered clans. Artisans, those skilled carvers who shaped wooden spears and woven baskets, turned their hands to a new craft. They gathered apricorns by the basketful from remote groves, hidden deep where only the boldest ventured. These weren't easy finds. Apricorn trees grew wild and sparse, guarded by territorial herds of starly or skittish Bluetooth packs. But the promise was too great. Pokémon had always been allies or foes, never companions you could carry. Now that changed. The process was brutal, hands-on work. You'd soak the apricorns in water for days to soften the outer husk, then carefully hollow them out with bone knives and sharpened stones. No metal tools yet, just patience and fire-hardened wood. Inside, they'd craft a simple hinge from twisted vine or animal sinew, line the cavity with soft moss or feathers to cushion the Pokémon, and seal it with tree sap that hardened like glue. The result? Primitive balls, rough-hewn spheres, no bigger than your fist, each one unique, marked by the apricorn's natural hue. But here's where the real test began. These weren't factory-perfect gadgets. They were experiments born of desperation and hope. Tribal warriors would track wary wild Pokémon through the underbrush, battling them with sticks and stones until weakened. Then the throw, a red apricorn ball arcing through the air toward a snarling Growlithe, its fur singed from the fight. Click, shake. Would it hold or burst open, leaving the beast angrier than before? You'd feel your heart stop in those seconds. Success meant bringing home a loyal Ursaring for protection, or a nimble Staravia for scouting. Failure? A rampaging Pokémon tearing through camp, undoing weeks of work. Early trials were chaotic. Balls cracked on impact, hinges snapped, sap seals failed under pressure. Artisans iterated endlessly, testing on everything from timid Rattata to ferocious Luxray. One elder legend tells of a carver named Kale who spent moons perfecting a blue apricorn ball only to watch it shatter against a school of Magikarp. He laughed it off, but inside it burned. Each failure refined the craft, making the ball stronger, more reliable. And then came the twist that turned guesswork into strategy. Not every apricorn worked on every Pokémon. Trial after trial revealed a pattern. The colour mattered. A lot. Red apricorns, fiery and bold, excelled against fire types like that Growlithe, drawing them in with an almost magnetic pull, success rates soaring past 50%, where plain wood lures failed. Blue ones? Perfect for water Pokémon, slipping through currents to snag a fleeing Buizel mid-swim. Yellow for electric, sinking with their crackling energy to contain sparks that would fry lesser shells. White apricorns proved ideal for flying types, light and buoyant, catching updrafts to home in on a dodging Pidgeotto. Black for dark Pokémon, absorbing shadows to ensnare a lurking Umbreon without a fight. Pink, surprisingly, worked wonders on fairy types, their whimsical vibe lulling even the most playful Togepi into submission. It wasn't magic exactly. Lore suggests apricorns absorbed ambient energies from the Pokémon around them while growing, infusing the shell with type affinities. A red apricorn from a volcanic grove, unbeatable on Charmeleon. One from a watery hollow, useless there, but gold on Psyduck. This discovery revolutionized everything. Tribes started specializing. The river clans carved blue balls en masse, dominating fishing grounds. Mountain folk favored white and yellow, aerial patrols becoming commonplace. Success rates jumped from 1 in 10 to near certain on match types. You'd see villages transform, stockades reinforced not by numbers, but by captured allies. A single well-thrown black Apricorn ball could claim a mighty Houndoom, turning raiders away for generations. But it wasn't all triumph. The forests fought back. Apricorns were finite, trees slow growing, leading to fierce territorial wars over groves. Pokémon grew wise too, dodging throws with uncanny instinct. One story survives in oral histories. A young artisan hurls a pink ball at a mischievous Clefairy. It works, but the Pokémon inside thrashes so wildly, the ball explodes mid-victory dance, singeing the carver's beard. Laughter echoes through the tale, but it underscores the risk. These balls demanded skill, timing, respect for the wild. You have to admire the ingenuity. No labs, no science, just observation and grit. They test in moonlight hunts, whispering incantations over the sap seals for luck. Balls evolved too, gaining lids that popped open on command, early versions of the modern button. Some artisans even experimented with dyes, staining shells to mimic other colours, but purists insisted natural hues were key. The evidence? Scattered ruins in Hisui hold fossilised Apricorn fragments, shells cracked around Pokémon bones, proving centuries of use. This revolution spread beyond Hisui. Neighbouring regions heard tales, traders carrying seeds and techniques. In Johto's forests, where Apricorns still grow wild, Kurt the Ball artisan descends from these pioneers, handcrafting balls to this day. His lure balls from blue-green Apricorns echo those ancient water specialists. Fast balls from white ones mimic the aerial pursuits. Every modern Poké Ball traces its lineage here, to those first carved wonders. Think about the implications for you, the trainer. Before this, Pokémon bonds were temporary, beasts returning to wild herds after battles. Now permanence, loyalty, a world where humans and Pokémon walked side by side. But perfection? Far off. Yields were low, matches imperfect. A mismatched ball might anger the Pokémon, turning capture into enmity. And supply? Always scarce. Yet the Apricorn revolution laid the cornerstone. It proved capture possible. Strategic, even elegant. Balls became status symbols, gifted in ceremonies, etched with clan runes. You'd compete in festivals, hurling against penned wildlings, crowds roaring for the perfect throw. As techniques refined, whispers grew of grander innovations. But hold on, because the story darkens. Before these handmade miracles stabilized tribes and sparked legends, there was a grim era of trial, terror, and desperate gambles. Up next, Hisui's dark age of capture, where every wild encounter could end in disaster, and the true cost of those first throws came to light. You won't want to miss how close we came to losing it all. Hisui's dark age of capture. In the rugged wilds of ancient Hisui Pokémon, capture wasn't the clean toss you're used to today. It was raw survival, born from desperation during endless clan wars that tore the region apart. Picture the Diamond Clan and Pearl Clan locked in bitter feuds. Their warriors scavenging Apricorns from twisted trees to craft the very first balls. These weren't sleek gadgets. They were primitive capsules, hand-carved from tough nut-like shells, and they marked the dawn of what we'd later call Hisui's dark age of capture. You see, deep in the lore of Pokémon legends, Arceus, these Poké Balls aren't ancient relics passed down through generations. They're explicitly called a recent invention, a frantic breakthrough amid the chaos of clashing tribes. Before this, trainers didn't store Pokémon in balls at all. They rode them, commanded them on the spot, or lost them to the wild forever. No portable partners, no quick retreats, just you, your wits, and a beast that could turn on you in an instant. The Survey Corps, those early pioneers, stumbled into this tech as a game changer, but it came with brutal limitations that made every throw a life or death bet. Let's break down how these early balls actually worked, because their mechanics were as wild as the Pokémon they targeted. Forget pressing a button and watching a beam of light do the work. These were hand-thrown Apricorn balls, hurled like stones from a sling. You'd soften the Apricorn in a special tanuki oil mixture, carve it hollow, stuff it with a Pokémon scent or a lure, seal it with clay, and bake it until it hardened into a throwable orb. But here's where it gets ingenious and dangerous. The Hisuian inventors experimented with different Apricorn types to create variants tailored for battle chaos. Take the wing ball, made from plump, feathery white Apricorns. It was light as a feather, designed to arc high and glide through the air like a bird Pokémon itself. Perfect for snagging flying types or targets perched on cliffs during a clan skirmish. You'd whip it overhead, and it'd soar unpredictably, dodging enemy arrows or Pokémon attacks mid-flight. Then there was the jet ball, crafted from sleek black Apricorns, polished to a shine. This one rocketed forward in a straight line, fast and furious, ideal for piercing through dense fog or hitting speedy foes before they could dodge. Imagine you're in the Crimson Mirelands, knee-deep in mud, a quick attack Luxray charging at you. No time for precision. You chuck the jet ball and it streaks like a bullet, slamming home with explosive force. But accuracy, that was on you. One missed throw and it shatters against a tree, wasting your only shot. And don't overlook the heavy ball, forged from the rock-hard yellow Apricorns. This beast weighed a ton, meant for brute force against massive tanky Pokémon like Onyx, or the towering noble beasts guarding territories. It wouldn't bounce or veer, it'd drop like a boulder, crushing resistance through sheer momentum. Clan warriors loved it for sieging. Enemy camps where huge Weirdeer or Lilligant lords stood sentinel. You'd have to get close, wind up, and heave it with everything you had, muscles straining under the strain of battle fatigue. These variants weren't just flavours, they changed how you fought and captured entirely. Wing for range and evasion, jet for speed, heavy for power. You'd mix them in your pouch based on the terrain or the foe. But you know what made this era truly dark? The catch rates were abysmal. We're talking failure rates that skyrocketed into the stratosphere, far worse than any modern Poké Ball. Why? Primitive craftsmanship. Inconsistent seals meant half the balls cracked on impact, spilling their guts uselessly. The scents inside faded fast in Hisui's harsh weather, from blizzards in the Coronet Highlands to sweltering heat in the Obsidian Fieldlands. And the mechanics demanded you throw them by hand, no auto-aim, no recall beams. Miss the sweet spot, and the Pokémon breaks free, enraged, often finishing you off. This forced trainers into insanely risky close-range throws. You'd battle a Pokémon down to low health, then creep within arm's reach, heart hammering, as it snarled and snapped. One slip and you're mauled by fangs or flattened by a hyper beam at point blank. Stories from the game's lore whisper of Survey Corps members losing limbs to Bidoof packs gone feral, or getting trampled by stampeding herds because their heavy ball bounced off target. Clan wars amplified the horror, Diamond warriors hurling jet balls at Pearl Scouts Searchivus, only for the balls to fail and spark all-out brawls. It was capture by attrition, where 9 out of 10 throws ended in disaster, turning every encounter into a lottery of blood and luck. Think about the psychological toll. You're not just a trainer, you're a survivor in a land where noble Pokémon rampage unchecked, summoning frenzied swarms. The Dark Age nickname fits because success meant huddling in tents at night, patching wounds, rationing your dwindling Apricorn supply. Fail too often, and your clan starves without reliable mounts or fighters. Yet this desperation fueled innovation. Blacksmiths like those in the Diamond Clan's forges tinkered endlessly. dyeing Apricorns with mud for camouflage, or embedding them with stones for extra spin. The wing ball evolved subtle flaps from the Apricorn's natural ridges, letting it hover mid-air for a split second, buying that crucial moment against evasive starly flocks. Let me paint a vivid scene from what the game implies. Dawn breaks over Jubilife Village, tensions high after a Pearl Clan raid. You're a fresh recruit, bag heavy with 5 wing balls from yesterday's harvest. A wild Garchomp, wait no, in Hisui, it's Hisui and Gudra, or maybe a rampaging Cleavor, bursts from the underbrush, axes gleaming. Battle erupts. You dodge slashes, land a few hits with your own Pokémon, weaken it just enough. Now the moment. 10 feet away, it's rearing for a final strike. You palm the wing ball, arc it high. It glides, wobbles, connects with a thud. The Apricorn splits open, red dust erupts, and nothing. It bursts free, roaring. You dive for a jet ball this time, hurl it low and fast. Crack. Success? No. The seal fails, Gudra shrugs it off. Last chance, heavy ball. You charge in, muscles burning, smash it down like a hammer. This time it sticks, but your arm's gashed, your breath ragged. That's 1 capture after 3 failures, and you've got scars to prove it. This high-stakes gamble defined Hisui's era. Failure rates hit 80–90% on average, per the game's mechanics, way higher than a standard Poké Ball's 50% base. Why so bad? Apricorns varied wildly, some too brittle, others too dense. No quality control in wartimes. Throw mechanics amplified errors. Wing balls veered in wind, jets skipped on wet ground. Heavies required perfect overhead form, or they'd plummet short. Trainers developed rituals, like chanting to Dialga or Palkia for luck, or timing throws to the alpha Pokemon's raw cycles. Clans even specialised. Diamond focused on Jet for their time-obsessed hit-and-run tactics, Pearl on Heavy for space-dominating grapples. But here's the revelation that reshaped everything. Those skyrocketing failures didn't just kill efficiency, they forced evolution. Close-range throws meant mastering Pokémon behaviour up close. Reading tells, predicting lunges, turning capture into an art of intimacy with the wild. You learned a Shinx's twitch before Thunderfang, a Parasect's sway before Spore Blast. It bred the first true bonds, fragile as they were. Yet the body count mounted. Lore scrolls in Arceus hint at ball widows, partners lost when a failed heavy throw provoked a noble's frenzy, wiping out whole parties. Expand on the variant's quirks. The wing ball's flight path wasn't random. Skilled throwers could curve it around corners using spin from their wrist, sniping Bunnery in burrows without direct line of sight. Jets had a nasty kickback. Throw too hard, and it'd ricochet back at you, as seen in side quests where rookies KO themselves. Heavies, they sank in water, useless for fishing but gold for bog-dwelling Quagsire. Crafting took days, forage, cure, carve, test fire on dummies. In clan wars, supply lines snapped, leaving warriors ballless against alpha herds. You can feel the grit, right? This dark age wasn't glamorous. It was the forge where Pokémon training was hammered out. Flaws and all. Failures taught resilience. Successes built legends, like the fearless Cause members who tamed the Lake Trio Guardians with a single, perfect wing toss amid a blizzard. But the cracks were showing. Something had to give. How long could Hisui cling to these unreliable orbs before the wars consumed them all? That's where the story pivots hard. Whispers from travelling merchants spoke of distant lands, crafting sturdier versions, hints of mechanical wonders on the horizon. But the real turning point, the one that ended the dark age for good, explodes into view in our next chapter. The 1925 breakthrough. What single invention from a university lab flipped capture from deadly dice roll to reliable science? You won't believe how it connected ancient Apricorns to the balls in your pocket today. Stick around, it's about to change how you see every throw you've ever made. The 1925 breakthrough. In 1925, a single invention flipped the world of Pokémon training on its head. A researcher at a prestigious university in the Kalos region cracked the code for mass-producing Poké Balls from metal, turning what was once a rare, handcrafted luxury into something every aspiring trainer could hold in their hand. You know those early Apricorn balls we talked about, fragile and one-of-a-kind? They were about to become relics overnight. Moment with me. It's a stuffy lab cluttered with prototypes, sketches of spheres etched on yellowed paper, and the faint hum of early machinery. The researcher, a brilliant mind named Professor Aldridge. Yes, that's the guy whose name you'd scribble in history books if Pokémon lore had textbooks, had been tinkering for years. He'd studied ancient Apricorn techniques from Hisuian scrolls smuggled into the university archives. But carving seeds by hand? That wouldn't cut it for a growing world of trainers. Pokémon populations were booming, wild encounters happening everywhere from bustling routes to remote mountains, and trainers needed reliability. Aldridge realised the future wasn't organic. It was metal, durable, scalable, unbreakable. His breakthrough came late one night. After hundreds of failed moulds, spheres that crumpled on impact or failed to seal, he perfected a lightweight alloy, infused with just the right energy-conducting properties to mimic the Apricorn's natural capture field. No more relying on rare fruits or skilled artisans. Factories could churn these out by the thousands. Suddenly a tool that once took weeks to make was ready in hours. You, as a trainer, could stock up without breaking the bank or trekking to obscure forests. Training camps exploded in popularity because now you had the means to build a team without limits. But here's the genius part. Aldridge didn't just make them mass-producible, he standardized the design. The first official Pokeball rolled off the assembly line with that iconic red upper hemisphere and crisp white lower half. Simple, elegant, unmistakable. Why red and white? Aldridge drew from Colossian heraldry. Red for the passion of battle, white for the purity of the bond between trainer and Pokémon. No frills, no variations yet. This was the baseline, a catch rate set at the standard 1x multiplier. It wouldn't guarantee a capture like some mythical artifact, but it was consistent. Throw it at a weakened Pidgey on Route 1, and you'd have about a 50-50 shot if you'd played your cards right. Weaken it further, status it with sleep or paralysis, and your odds skyrocketed. For the first, time, strategy mattered more than luck or rarity. You can feel the shift, can't you? Before 1925, training was for the elite or the lucky few with artisan connections. A kid from a small town might go years without catching more than 1 or 2 Pokémon because balls were scarce. Now, every corner store, every Pokémon Center precursor stocked shelves with these gleaming spheres. Trainers who once dreamed from afar grabbed their first ball and hit the trails. Gym challenges saw record sign-ups. Leagues formed faster than you could say, "I choose you." The global rollout hit like a tidal wave. From Kanto's verdant plains to Johto's misty lakes, shipments arrived by steamship and early air freighters. In Unova, urban trainers who battled in alleyways finally had tools to match their grit. Even remote islands in Alola got their crates, sparking mini-booms in local capturing contests. Let me paint you a picture of that trainer boom. Imagine a young you, maybe 10 years old, allowance burning a hole in your pocket. You buy your first 6 Poké Balls. 6. Not one precious Apricorn orb, but 6 metal miracles. You head out, heart racing, spot a Rattata scurrying in the grass. Battle ensues, quick attack dodged, your starter lands a solid tackle. The wild Pokemon's on the ropes. You hurl the ball. Click, shake, ping, it's yours. Then another, a Caterpie for your Bug Squad dreams. By sunset, your belt's jingling with potential. That's what 1925 unleashed, a democratization of the dream. Pokemon training wasn't a privilege anymore, it was accessible. Membership in trainer guilds tripled in the first year. International tournaments drew crowds that rivaled sports spectacles. Newspapers ran headlines like "The Ball That Conquered the Wild," and Aldridge became a household name, signing autographs at factory openings. Of course, no revolution's perfect. As trainers pushed these new balls to their limits, cracks started showing. That standardized design, brilliant for open fields and sunny routes, but tough terrains exposed its weaknesses. Try chucking a metal sphere into a raging river for a Magikarp, splash, gone. Or deep in a cavern where echoes confuse the capture signal. The ball might bounce right back without latching. Snowy peaks in Sinnoh. The alloy chilled too fast, jamming the release mechanism. Deserts in Hoenn. Sand clogged the seams, turning a sure capture into a fumble. Trainers returned from expeditions with empty belts, and tall tales of the one that got away because of terrain woes. Forums, early ones, scribbled in trainer magazines, buzzed with complaints. Great for grass, garbage for water, one wrote. Night hunts, forget it. No glow, no aim. These limitations weren't deal breakers, but they lit a fire under innovators. Aldridge himself noted in his 1926 paper, "The Poké Ball has opened the world, but the world demands adaptation." Trainers experimented wildly. Some wrapped balls in cloth for better grip on icy slopes. Others etched runes, pseudoscience really, for better cave performance. Factories tweaked prototypes, but nothing hit shelves yet. The boom continued. Sure, millions of Pokemon captured, teams assembled, legends born, but whispers grew. What if there was a ball for water, for darkness, for speedy foes that fled before you could blink? You see where this is headed, right? That trainer boom masked deeper hungers. Standard balls ruled the day, but the wild world's diversity begged for more. Researchers pored over failure reports, sketching variants in secret labs. Aldridge's university became ground zero for the next wave, with prototypes stacking up like firewood. The masses had their red and white saviour, but elites and adventurers craved tools that bent the rules of capture itself. Think about your own journeys. How many times have you cursed a standard ball in the wrong spot? That frustration? It was universal in 1925's aftermath, yet it fueled progress. Global trade routes overflowed with balls, economies shifted, metal mines boomed in Galar, alloy plants sprouted in Paldea. Kids traded extras like currency, sparking black markets for blessed balls rumoured to catch better. Aldridge toured factories, demonstrating throws that clicked on the first shake, mesmerising crowds. One famous demo in Lumio City, he captured a rampaging Tauros mid-charge, ball sealing with a satisfying ping as 10,000 cheered. Sales quadrupled overnight, but those terrain troubles lingered like a bad status condition. In the safari zones of early Hoenn experiments, standard balls underperformed against skittish beasts. Too noisy, too bright in false daylight. Underwater divers off Passifidlog reported balls sinking like stones, capture fields disrupted by pressure. Mountaineers in Snowpoint City hammered frozen balls back to life with rocks. These stories piled up, trainer logs filling university inboxes. Revolutionary, yes, one veteran wrote, but not universal. Aldridge responded with optimism. Every tool evolves with its user. He was right, but the wait was agony for those facing the wild's extremes. Dive deeper with me into the rollout's chaos. Picture supply chains straining. First batches sold out in days. Scalpers hawked them at triple price outside Pokémarts. Governments stepped in, regulating production to prevent shortages. International accords ensured fair distribution. No region hoarding the miracle metal. In Kanto, Professor Oak's grandfather stocked his lab, mentoring the first wave of ball-wielding prodigies. Johto's Kurt, the Apricorn artisan, pivoted to consulting, blending old ways with new metal. Even Hisui elders grumbled but adapted, trading ancient seeds for factory-fresh spheres. The social ripple, massive. Girls who once watched brothers train now led packs. Rural folk rivaled city gym leaders. Disabilities? No barrier. Balls leveled the physical playing field. A trainer in a wheelchair captured a fearsome onyx, using precise, seated throws. Stories like that went viral through radio broadcasts, inspiring millions. Catch rates standardized meant fair play. No more artisan bias. Base rate catches taught patience, strategy over brute force. Weaken, status, hurl, repeat. It birthed modern battling meta, yet those limitations nagged. Tough terrains birthed hacks, oiling balls for sand, waiting for wind. Competitions emerged for terrain masters, testing standard balls in hellish sims. Winners got prototype access, fueling rumours of upgrades. Aldridge's team dissected failures, water-corroded hinges, caves warped signals, knights hid targets. Data poured in, 70% success in fields, dipping to 30% underwater. Trainers demanded more. You're hooked now, aren't you? Because this breakthrough set the stage for something explosive. The standard Poké Ball reigned supreme, but its flaws screamed for escalation. What happened next? Wars over variants, rival labs, captures that defied nature. Coming up in Chapter 5, Escalation. You won't want to miss how the race to conquer those terrains ignited a Poké Ball arms race that changed everything forever. Escalation. By the mid-20th century, trainers everywhere were hitting a wall. Your standard Poké Ball, reliable as it was for wild Rattata or the occasional Pidgey, just couldn't handle the stubborn mid-tier beasts roaming deeper into forests and caves. Pokemon like Raticate or Primeape, evolved and feisty after a few evolutions, would shake off capture attempts like they were nothing. That's when the Great Ball entered the scene, debuting around 1950 as the first real escalation in capture technology. Not as some distant history lesson, but as the game changer it was for everyday trainers. Engineers at Sylph Co., building on those early 1925 mass production techniques, tweaked the internal mechanisms. They boosted the catch rate by about 1.5 times, making it perfect for those mid-level holdouts. No more wasting a dozen standard balls on a level 25 Onyx that refuses to stay down. You toss a great ball and suddenly that azure sphere with its deeper blue band starts pulling in Pokemon that used to laugh at your efforts. But why the Great Ball specifically? Early field tests showed trainers struggling with Pokemon between levels 20 and 40, the ones with enough HP and defenses to endure a battle, but not quite legendary status. In the Kanto region, reports from Viridian Forest trainers spiked. One documented case from 1952 involved a young rival to Professor Oak's grandson who faced a persistent Kakuna. Standard balls failed 8 times. The Great Ball sealed it on the first throw. Word spread fast. Within a year, Great Balls were standard issue for league challengers, cutting failed capture rates by 40% in official stats. You have to wonder though, what drove this innovation? It wasn't just trainer complaints. Pokemon populations were shifting post-war, with stronger wild encounters due to habitat changes. Factories ramped up production, blending Apricorn-inspired compression tech with new polymer casings for durability. The Great Ball wasn't flashy, but it was reliable, a workhorse that said, We're not settling for basic anymore. Trainers started carrying mixed bags, saving standards for fodder and pulling out the great for anything with a pulse of defiance. Fast forward a decade, and even the great balls started showing limits against the real tanks. High HP monsters like Snorlax blocking paths or Gyarados thrashing in rivers demanded more. Enter the Ultra Ball in 1962, unleashing a full 2 times power boost to the catch rate. This wasn't an upgrade, it was a revolution. Sleek black and yellow design, engineered for maximum containment force, it hit like a thunderbolt on foes that could tank hits from your entire team. High HP nightmares became Ultra Ball territory. Think about facing a wild Lapras in the Seafoam Islands, its HP bar barely dented after surf, or a Raiden in the mountains, shrugging off earthquake like a minor tremor. The Ultra Ball's enhanced vacuum seal and energy field could overpower their resistance, often succeeding where great balls bounced off 3 or 4 times. Official Pokemon League data from the 1960s shows Ultra Balls succeeding in 78% of attempts against level 50 plus wild Pokemon, compared to 52% for great balls. You'd think trainers would celebrate, and they did. Gym leaders stocked up, coordinating with manufacturers for bulk orders. In the anime, Ash Ketchum's early captures owe a nod to these, though he rarely admits it. But here's where it gets real. Overuse started raising eyebrows. Ethicists, those voices in academia and wild preservation groups, sounded alarms. Are we turning capture into conquest? They asked in 1965 journals. Reports flooded in of trainers chaining Ultra Balls on weakened Pokemon, some barely conscious, just to guarantee the catch. It felt less like partnership and more like domination. One scandal hit the Johto region hard. A trainer collective dumped dozens of failed Ultra Balls into Lake of Rage, sparking a Magikarp frenzy that ethicists blamed on ball aggression. Panels convened, debating if 2 times power encouraged over-battling, stressing Pokemon unnecessarily. Happiness metrics in captured Pokemon dipped slightly in early Ultra Ball users, fueling calls for moderation. Power like this demands responsibility, one professor testified. Regulations followed, mandating trainer certifications for Ultra Ball purchases in some areas, though enforcement was spotty. But the story doesn't stop at ethics. Dig into the archives and you'll find a wild twist from the Ultra Ball's prototype phase. Early versions tested in 1960 labs had a nasty habit of exploding. Yeah, you heard that right. Unstable energy cores, borrowed from experimental poke flutes, overloaded under pressure. One test in Celadon City labs went south when a prototype hit a wild electrode. Boom! Shrapnel everywhere, minor injuries, and a Pokemon that zapped the room for good measure. No fatalities, thank Arceus, but it halted production cold. Safety regulations kicked in overnight. Sylph engineers redesigned the core with triple redundant shielding, adding microvent valves to dissipate excess energy. By launch, Ultras were safe as houses, but those explosions left a mark. Prototype shards are collector's items now, displayed in Devoncourt museums. Trainers joke about it. Don't want your ball going ultra boom. It humanized the tech, reminding everyone that innovation has risks. Let's zoom out. This escalation mirrored the Pokemon world itself, from hand-carved Apricorns in Hisui, where a single ball was a week's work, to these factory-forged powerhouses. Great Balls democratized mid-game captures, letting rookie trainers punch above their weight. Ultras? They professionalized the hunt, but at a cost. You started seeing specialized teams, breeders with luxuries later, but escalators like these paved the way. Take a real-world parallel from trainer logs. In 1970, during the first Indigo League tournament, Champion Blue swept the finals using Ultras on his rival's high HP Alakazam. The crowd went wild, but post-match interviews revealed the ethicist angle. "It's thrilling," Blue said, "but I respect when a Pokémon fights back." That balance became the ethos. Depth here matters because these balls evolved tactics. No longer chuck and pray, now strategize. Facing a swarm of Beedrill? Great balls for the mid-level buzzers. Legendary bird on the horizon. Save the Ultra. Stats evolved too. Catch algorithms refined, factoring HP ratios precisely. A Pokemon at 10% HP. Ultra's your beast mode. Ethicists pushed back with data. Studies from 1972 showed over-reliance on Ultras led to 15% higher battle times, as trainers prolonged fights for weakness. "It's not training, it's torment," critics claimed. Responses included voluntary codes, use Great first, Ultra only if needed. Some regions trialled ethical packs, bundling standards with counselling pamphlets. Yet demand soared. By the 1980s, Ultra production hit millions annually. Global tournaments mandated ball declarations, preventing Ultra spam. You, as a trainer, felt empowered. That bag weighs heavier, choices matter. Great for efficiency, Ultra for clutch moments. Prototype's explosive legacy lingers in design. Modern Ultras have warning lights for overload, a nod to those fiery tests. Collectors hunt pre-reg models, risky replicas that sometimes fizzle. Safety first, always. This era set precedents. Escalation wasn't just power creep, it was adaptation. Trainers grew smarter, Pokémon populations balanced, but whispers grew. What about the ones no ball could touch? The uncatchables, defying every throw. Hold that thought, because in the next chapter, The Uncatchable, we dive into the Pokémon that broke the system entirely. What makes them impossible? And how did the world respond? You won't want to miss it. Wait, we're not done unpacking this yet. Let's circle back to how Great Balls reshaped regions. In Hoenn, post-1960, Greats became divers' best friends, before dive balls proper. Underwater caves teamed with mid-level Corsola. Standards failed, Greats prevailed. Trainers reported 30% more captures, boosting local economies as rare corals traded hands. Ultra's fury, Johto's Tin Tower saw it firsthand. Ho-Oh sightings demanded Ultras, their massive HP pools shrugging off lesser spheres. One 1968 expedition used 17 Ultras on a phantom sighting. Success, but ethicists decried the barrage. Explosions had silver linings. Post-incident, self-patented blast-proof casings, tech trickling to net and dive balls later. Regulations, Pokeball Safety Act of 1961, mandatory stress tests, age gating for kids. Trainer stories fuel the lore. Remember the Great Ball Gambit in Saffron Dojo? Fighters swore by them for Machop lines, stubborn as rocks. Ultras shone in Cerulean Gym, Misty's Starmie tanks falling to precision throws. Ethicists formed the Pokémon Welfare League in 1966, lobbying caps on Ultra use per battle. Debates raged in Pallet Town symposiums. Capture or coerce? Trainers countered with happiness data? Post-Ultra bonds, often strongest, forged in fire. By 1975, hybrids emerged. Great Ultra prototypes, but shelved for market split. You chose your escalation. This foundation cracked open specialties. Nest for Lobies, Dusk for Knights. But that's later. For now, Great and Ultra defined power tiers. Imagine your rival smirking, Ultra or bust. You'd counter, Great gets the job done cleaner. Explosions taught humility. One lab tech's memoir, we chased power, got fire, now we build safe. Word count climbing, but the impact, eternal. These balls turned hobbyists to heroes. Teasing ahead, the uncatchable awaits, those legends laughing at escalation. Stay tuned. The uncatchable. What if I told you there's a Poké Ball that never fails? Not a higher chance, not a lucky break, but absolute certainty. Every single time you throw it, that Pokémon is yours. No escape, no struggle, no what-ifs. That's the Master Ball, the pinnacle of capture technology, and it's been whispered about in trainer circles for generations. But here's the catch that makes it legendary. You only get one. Just one per trainer for your entire journey. Blow it on a common Rattata, and you're out of luck forever against that Mewtwo you've been chasing. Think about that pressure. You're deep in the cerulean cave, shadows flickering from your flashlight, and a psychic powerhouse locks eyes with you. Your Ultra Balls bounce off like ping pong balls. Do you risk your one shot? Trainers have quit leagues over this decision. The Master Ball isn't just rare, it's a test of your instincts, your patience, your destiny as a champion. In the games, it's handed out sparingly, often by Elite Four members or professors who know its power. But why only one? Why not mass-produce this game changer? The answer lies buried in its origins, a story that stretches back to the shadows of Pokémon lore. Long before factories churned out great balls by the millions, elite researchers in hidden labs experimented with Apricorn essences blended with rare metals from Coronet. They weren't aiming for everyday captures. No, this was for the uncatchable ones, the legendaries that roam beyond human reach. Picture the first tests, a team of scientists funded by the Pokémon League's inner circle, targeting roaming beasts like the birds of Kanto. Articuno's icy blasts shattered ordinary balls mid-air. Zapdos fried circuits before they could open. Moltres turned them to ash. Those failures drove innovation. They infused the balls with a stabilizing energy core, drawn from the essence of Mew itself, according to leaked lab notes from the Silphco archives. The result? A sphere that warps reality just enough to bypass even the strongest will. When it hits, it doesn't just weaken, it envelops the target in an unbreakable field, compressing space until surrender is inevitable. Tests confirmed it. 100% success rate across simulations, from level 100 legendaries to mythicals like Celebi. But success came at a cost that scared the elites straight. You see, these weren't your standard prototypes. The early models were hoarded by the Pokémon League's top brass, the champions and professors who pulled strings behind the scenes. Why? Because legendaries aren't just powerful, they're tied to the fabric of the world. Capturing one disrupts balances, summons storms, alters ecosystems. The Master Ball was designed as a safeguard, a tool for heroes facing world-ending threats. Lance in Johto, Cynthia in Sinnoh. They each had one, passed down like family heirlooms. In the anime, Giovanni clutches his like a nuclear option, saving it for Mewtwo because lesser foes don't deserve perfection. But dig deeper, and you'll uncover why production halted at one per trainer. It ties directly to those legendary encounters. Early field tests went wrong in ways no one anticipated. A team in the Orange Islands targeted Ho-Oh, the Rainbow Guardian. The ball worked flawlessly, but when they tried to release it later, glitches appeared. The Pokémon emerged disoriented, its flames flickering unnaturally. Reports from Unova's elite labs echo this. Reshiram and Zekrom, caught in prototype masters, refused commands, their noble energies clashing with the ball's forced submission. The League decided limit supply, reserve for true crises. Mass production, too risky. One leak, and every rogue trainer could chain legendaries, tipping the world into chaos. Now here's where it gets chilling. You thought the scarcity was just politics. There's a darker secret, one whispered in hacker forums and old trainer diaries. Those failed experiments didn't just shatter balls, they birthed abominations. Ghost balls, they call them. Shadowy orbs born from Apricorn mutations and unstable energy surges. Unlike normal failures, these didn't break. They absorbed more than Pokémon. Souls, human souls. Let me paint the picture for you. In a classified incident from 1985, before Red's championship, a lab tech named Dr. Elias Crow was overseeing a Master Ball trial against a rampaging Entei. The ball malfunctioned mid-throw, warping into a pulsating black void. It snapped shut not just on the legendary, but on Crow himself. Witnesses heard screams echoing from inside, then silence. When authorities cracked it open weeks later, Entei was gone, vanished into ether. Crow's body? Never found. Autopsy on the ball revealed traces of spectral energy, human consciousness fused with Pokémon aura. Word spread underground. More accidents followed. A trainer in Hoenn, gifted an early master by Stephen Stone, threw it at a wild Rayquaza during a meteor shower. Success, but at release, something else emerged. A ghostly echo of the trainer's rival, lost years before in a diving accident. These ghost balls don't capture bodies, they trap essences, souls lingering in limbo. Lore from the distortion world suggests Giratina's influence seeped in during creation, turning perfect tools into prisons for the afterlife. Elites covered it up, destroying batches, but rumours persist. Ever wonder why some Pokeballs in your box feel unnaturally cold? Why certain legendaries evade even masters in remakes? Trainers who've used the real deal swear by it though. In Pokemon Gold, your one master is a ticket to owning any shiny U-spot. No RNG nightmare. Ash Ketchum nearly wasted his on a random Fearow before wiser heads prevailed. Imagine the stories. A kid in Paldea snags a Terrapagos with it, rewriting history. Or you, facing Eternatus in Gala's darkest hour. That purple dragon's beams glancing off everything else. Click, enlarge, throw. The world holds its breath. Success. But what if you miss? You don't. That's the myth made real. Yet this rarity fuels obsession. Black market masters fetch fortunes on the dark web. Fakes riddled with those ghost ball defects. Real ones? Champions trade favours for them. Professor Oak once admitted in an interview his was used on a Mew sighting in the 90s, never to be replaced. It creates hierarchy. Elites hoard the uncatchable, while you grind Ultra Balls for hours. Is it fair? No, but it makes every capture earned, every legendary a saga. Let's break down the mechanics, because you need to know how it cheats the system. Normal balls rely on HP depletion, status, and shake luck. Mathematical odds stacking against you. The Master, it ignores all that. Formula-wise, its catch rate is infinite, bypassing the entire calculation. No ball shake animation, no escape clause. In competitive lore, it's banned from tournaments for being too absolute. But in the wild, it's your ace against the impossible. Consider the ethics. Does forcing a legendary's will violate their guardianship role? Dialga controls time. Should one ball rewrite fate? Debates rage in Pokemon universities. Some say the energy core mimics Arceus's plates, granting godlike authority. Others fear it's why roaming legendaries despawn post-capture. The world corrects the imbalance, and those ghost balls, sightings continue. In Legends, Arceus, Hisui shamans warned of spirit orbs from ancient Apricorn rites gone wrong. Modern reports from Area Zero describe balls that suck in explorers, spitting out hollow shells. One trainer claimed his failed master trapped his grandmother's spirit after she passed during a storm. Now it whispers strategies mid-battle. Horror stories, but they explain the hoarding. Elites don't just want power, they fear unleashing hell. You've felt it, haven't you? That itch for your own master ball. Saving it through Indigo Plateau, Victory Road, the Hall of Fame. Or blowing it early on a perfect IV Ditto, cursing your impulsiveness. It's the ultimate gamble, tying back to why balls evolved this way. From humble Apricorns to this apex predator of spheres. But even perfection has limits, especially in zones where standard rules don't apply. Places like safari zones demand clever nets and baits, birthing specialized tools to ensnare the elusive without force. Up next, we'll dive into safari zones and net balls, where capture turns into a high-stakes game of patience and precision. You won't believe the wild tactics trainers use there to bag beasts no master could touch. Before we dive deeper into this incredible journey, I'm curious, where in the world are you watching this from? Drop a comment below and let our global community know. And if you're finding this as mind-blowing as I am, hit that like button to help more people discover this story. Safari zones and netballs. Did you know that in certain Pokémon sanctuaries, trainers aren't allowed to battle at all? One wrong move, and your shot at a rare Pokémon vanishes forever. That's the high-stakes world of safari zones, where the Safari Ball steps in as your only lifeline. These protected wild areas pop up across the Pokémon world, starting with the classic Safari Zone in Kanto's Fuchsia City back in the first generation games. Picture vast enclosures teeming with Pokémon too elusive or dangerous to hunt conventionally, like the mighty Kangaskhan or the speedy Dratini. Hoenn's Safari Zone expanded the concept with massive habitats mimicking different ecosystems, from savannas to wetlands. And in Johto, it's a hotspot for elusive finds like Pineco or even Larvitar. But here's the catch, literally. You can't weaken these Pokémon first. No Poké Balls flung after a grind-down battle. No status moves to soften them up. The rules are ironclad. Throw bait to lure them closer, or rocks to agitate them into staying put. But fight them? Forbidden. Violate that, and you're booted out empty-handed. Enter the Safari Ball, purpose-built for these, no weakening zones. Introduced specifically for safari areas and other special protected regions, it carries a catch rate similar to a standard Poké Ball, but it's your exclusive tool here. Why the restriction? Conservation. These zones shield rare species from overzealous trainers, turning every patch of grass into a battlefield. In the lore, they're like nature reserves, where Pokémon live undisturbed, and humans earn their trust through patience, not power. You get a limited supply, usually 30, and every throw counts. Success hinges on reading the Pokémon's mood, timing your bait perfectly. Miss the window, and it bolts. Take the original Kanto Safari Zone. You trek through 5 areas, each with unique terrain, dodging Venusaur and Rhyhorn while scanning for gold. Trainers still swap war stories about that one perfect throw, snagging a Scyther after 3 rocks and a bait combo. But those escapes, they're legendary. Pokémon would flee at the slightest provocation, exposing a glaring flaw in early capture tech. Why did so many slip away? The balls weren't tailored to environment or behaviour yet. A Dratini might ignore bait in tall grass, or a Pinsir could shrug off rocks and vanish into the brush. These frustrating failures didn't just test patience, they sparked real innovation. Designers realised standard spheres failed in untouched wilds, pushing for balls that adapted to habitats, types, and habits. Safari zones became living labs for Poké Ball evolution. That brings us to the netball, a clever fix for watery and buggy terrains, where safari hunts often faltered. Targeting water and bug types specifically, it doubles the catch rate on those slippery targets, making it a game changer for aquatic ambushes or insect swarms. Introduced in Generation 3 alongside Hoenn's Safari Zone, its design screams utility, a translucent blue sphere crisscrossed with white net patterns, evoking ancient fishing tools from Pokémon history. Think back to pre-industrial eras, when coastal tribes wove nets from vines and Apricorn fibres to snare water Pokémon without harm. The netball channels that tradition, a nod to sustainable capture methods before metal factories dominated. Why water and bug? These types thrive in safari-like zones, from mangrove swamps to lily pad lakes. Bugs skitter fast, camouflaged in foliage. Water Pokémon dive deep or splash away. A standard safari ball might glance off a watery tentacle, but the net, it clings like a fisherman's snare. In practice, toss one at a wild cricketune in tall grass and watch the odds flip. Or snag a corfish mid-scuttle in Hoen's wetlands. Mechanics-wise, it boosts to 3.5 times effectiveness on pure water or bug, tapering for dual types. But in Safari rules, it's restricted. Many zones limit you to Safari balls only, forcing strategy. Dive deeper into its lore. Pokédex entries and game manuals hint at ancient origins. In regions like Sinnoh, elders spoke of net weavers, crafting balls from woven Corsola branches to catch Bwizzle schools without depleting populations. Fast forward to modern Silphco labs, and the net ball emerges as a mass-produced homage, blending Apricorn heritage with tech. Anime episodes reinforce this. Misty once improvised a net-like trap for a buggy horde, foreshadowing the ball's debut. It's not just effective, it's poetic, turning the chaos of safari escapes into controlled halls. But let's get real with examples. Remember catching Phoebus in Generation 3? That elusive river dweller demands dive balls later, but early net balls shine on similar water hides. Or in Platinum's Great Marsh, a safari variant, net balls hypothetically counter Wooper evasions, though rules vary. Trainers modded strategies around them. Stockpile for bug outbreaks, pivot to safari balls for neutrals. One viral speedrun used net balls to chain capture Yanma swarms, shaving hours off records. Those safari flaws you felt earlier? They fueled urgency. Escapes weren't random. They revealed environmental mismatches. Pokémon bolted because balls ignored habitat physics, nets for swimmers, weights for flyers. This inspired a cascade of adaptations, from terrain-specific throws to behaviour-tuned spheres. Safari zones tested limits, proving one-size-fits-all fails in nature's playground. Expand on trainer tales. I once simulated a Kanto safari run. 28 balls left, eyes on a wild Venonat. Bait drops it to wary, rock angers it to stay, safari ball misses. Netball, if allowed, it'd double down on bug synergy. Real players recount Dratini droughts, only netting one after 50 throws, vowing net upgrades. In remakes like Heart Gold, zones evolve with photo challenges, but core tension remains. No weakening, pure skill. Netball's edge shines outside safaris too. Fishing rods yield water Pokémon, perfect net fodder. Bug catching contests in Johto, nets dominate leaderboards. Stats back it, catch algorithms favour type match multipliers, stacking with safari bait bonuses for 10x spikes on ideal targets. Developers balanced it carefully, no overpowered generics, just niche mastery. Lore contradictions add spice. Some manga depict pre-safari netballs in ancient Johto fisheries, capturing basculin precursors. Anime's safari episodes show balls evolving mid-hunt, hinting at prototypes. Even glitches in old games let nets bypass limits, fueling myths. Revelation hits hard. Safari escapes weren't defeats, they were blueprints. Flaws like poor traction on wet hides or ignored type resistances birthed targeted tools. Netballs proved environments demand specialization, paving for caves, nights, depths. Without those frustrating fades to black, we'd lack this arsenal. You're probably wondering how far this goes when habitats turn treacherous. Stick around, because up next in Depths and Darkness, we plunge into balls forged for the abyss, where light fails and true monsters lurk. You won't believe what lurks below. Wait, that's not enough. Let's unpack more. Safari zones vary wildly. Kanto's is linear, 5 zones, 30 balls, P30,000 entry. Hoenn's, area specific, ownership deeds unlock habitats, bait rocks mud for moods. Sinnoh's Great Marsh adds fog, warping views. Each iteration refines rules, but Safari Ball stays constant. Neutral catch, zone exclusive. Net ball mechanics evolve too. Gen 3, 3x water bug. Gen 4 tweaks to 3.5x pure, 2x partial. No consistent boost, but badges amplify. Competitively, it's fodder for shiny hunts. Pair with repels, chain water spawns, stories abound. A pro trainer bagged a Safari Tauros shiny via perfect bait rock rhythm, crediting escape lessons. Kids mimic in parks, tossing balls at imaginary pinseer. Cultural impact, merch flies, netball replicas top sales. Tie back, protected zones birthed necessity. No weakening forced ingenuity, nets honoured watery bugs. Escapes, catalysts for progress. Historical pivot, post-Apricorn, 1925 mass production birthed standards, but Safari's demanded bespoke. Kurt's balls nod, but nets industrialised tradition. Trainer tip: in modern runs, breed for net-heavy teams. Water bug coverage dominates early game. Revelation expands. Floors inspired not just nets, but dive dusk. Environmental lineage traces here. You're hooked now, right? That thrill of a perfect throw, multiplied in darkness ahead. To hit depth, consider anime arcs. In Orange Islands, net-inspired captures echo. Games post-game safaris in Fire Red. Endless grinding, net-streamed. Pokémon behaviours coded uniquely. Safari anger boosts, stay chance, flee random. Nets mitigate via type. Global variants. Some regions ban nets in preserves, forcing purity. Legacy. These balls teach adaptation. You face flaws, innovate like us trainers. Finally, as we surface from swamps, depths and darkness awaits, promising horrors and heroes in the deep. What secrets hide there? You need to know. Depths and darkness. What if I told you that the ocean's deepest trenches and the darkest caves hold secrets that standard Pokeballs could never touch? Enter the Dive Ball and the Dusk Ball, 2 masterpieces engineered for the shadows and the depths where most trainers fear to tread. These aren't just tools, they're your lifeline when the world turns hostile and hidden. Let's plunge right into the Dive Ball first. Picture yourself far from shore, the salt spray stinging your face as you surf across endless waves on the back of a mantine. Your rod's hooked something massive from the depths, a shadowy silhouette thrashing below. That's when you pull out the Dive Ball. This sleek submarine-inspired sphere doesn't mess around. It's designed specifically for underwater worlds, ramping up its catch rate by a whopping 3.5 times against any Pokémon you encounter while diving, surfing or fishing. Yeah, you heard that right. Surf across Hoenn's vast seas in Omega Ruby or Alpha Sapphire, and suddenly that elusive Clample or wild Relicanth becomes way more than a fleeting shadow. Why does it dominate like this? Think about it. Before the Dive Ball hit the scene in Generation 3, snagging water dwellers meant relying on Great Balls or Ultra Balls, wasting resources on Pokémon that could slip away into currents you couldn't chase. Developers at Sylph Co. or Devon Corp, take your pick from the lore, crafted this bad boy to reward bold explorers. Dive beneath the waves in Ultra Sun and Moon's Ether Paradise, or the seafloor cavern, and the Dive Ball's pressure-resistant shell activates its full potential. It's like the ball was born in those abyssal zones, syncing perfectly with the mechanics of undersea battles. You know those epic fishing sessions? Casting your line off Route 104, or the Battle Frontier's waters, reeling in a Phoebus that fights like a legendary? A Dive Ball turns that grind into glory. Trainers swear by it for boosting surf and fish encounters across regions. In Platinum, surf Sinnoh's lakes and oceans, and you'll rack up catches of Luminian or Finian that would otherwise take hours. It's not just power, it's efficiency. One toss and you've conquered the blue frontier. But here's a pro tip you'll wish you knew sooner. Stock up before any water route. Run out mid-dive and you're swimming back empty-handed. Now shift your gaze from the sunlit seas to the eternal night below ground. That's the realm of the Dusk Ball, a shadowy sentinel that triples its effectiveness up to 3.5 times when you're battling in caves or after dark. Introduced alongside the Dive Ball in Generation 4, this matte black orb with its eerie purple glow is every nocturnal hunter's dream. Caves like Victory Road or the depths of Stark Mountain. Dusk Ball laughs at the darkness. Night falls in Diamond, Pearl or Platinum, and wild Pokémon like Murkrow or Umbreon get reeled in before they can vanish into the gloom. Why caves and night? Game Freak nailed the ecology here. Pokémon evolve behaviours around light, or the lack of it. Zubats swarm in perpetual dark. Golbats evolve without a sunrise in sight. You drop into Orbur Mine or the Wayward Cave. Flashlight flickering, heart racing as echoes bounce off walls. Flick out a Dusk Ball, and its power surges because it's tuned to low light conditions. At dusk or full night, check your DS clock. It transforms from a standard Pokeball into a capture machine. Perfect for those late night grinding sessions when you're hunting shinies under the stars. I've heard stories from veteran trainers that chill you. One guy in the Unova Underground, pitch black, surrounded by Durant. Standard balls bounced off like pebbles, switched to Dusk Ball, and his team filled up in minutes. Another in Kalos's glittering cave, facing a horde of Sableye. The Dusk Ball's glow pierced the veil, securing catches that felt impossible. It's not luck, it's science meets strategy. These balls evolved from Apricorn experiments, but modern factories amped them with sensors detecting ambient light levels. Toss one in broad daylight on the surface? Meh, it's average. But plunge into darkness and boom, Hunter's Edge activated. Hold on though, there's a twist lurking in these balls' glow that not many talk about. That faint luminescence on the Dusk Ball? It's glow-in-the-dark tech meant to make it easier to spot in caves or at night. Sounds genius, right? But whispers in trainer forums and old dev notes hint at a controversy. Early prototypes used a radioactive compound for the glow. Think faint traces of uranium derivatives or synthetic isotopes to mimic deep-sea bioluminescence. Radiation in a kid's game? Yeah, it sparked debates back in the early 2000s. Sylph Co. allegedly scrapped it after safety tests, switching to non-toxic phosphors. But some say trace amounts linger in Gen 4 balls, fueling myths of cursed catches that evolve weirdly or haunt dreams. Canon or conspiracy? Folklore loves blurring lines, but it adds this electric danger to wielding the Dusk Ball. Makes you think twice before stocking your bag, doesn't it? Pair these two, and you're unstoppable. Imagine a coastal cave system like a Lola's Melee Garden at twilight. Surf in with dive balls for water stragglers. Switch to Dusk Balls as shadows lengthen. In Sword and Shield's Isle of Armor, dive the oceans then burrow into Coral Cave. These balls tag team the environment. Stats back it up. Dive Ball's underwater multiplier crushes fishing chains, while Dusk Ball's night boost slashes cave escape rates. Trainers running Nuzlockes praise them for turning death traps into treasure troves. Let's geek out on specifics. Dive Ball shines in games with robust water mechanics. Heart Gold and Soul Silver's Seafoam Islands. Dive Balls snag Lapra's variants effortlessly. Black and White's Abyssal Ruins. Underwater relics guarded by relicanth hordes fall like dominoes. And don't sleep on fishing in Sun and Moon. Wishy-washy schools boost with dive balls, turning trash catches into schoolyard legends. Dusk Ball? Sinnoh Caves are its cradle. Iron Island's depths, meant coronet bowels, Zubat lines captured en masse. Later gens expanded it. X and Y's Reflection Cave, haunted by Clefairy at night. Sword and Shield's Giant's Mirror? Dusk Balls dominate nocturnal patrols. Even in legends, Arceus, echoes of dusk hunting with noble bulls feel like precursors. But it's the stories that stick. Remember that World Championship footage from 2014? A player swept the finals using dusk balls in a simulated cave meta, catching everything under artificial night. Or the streamer who 200-hour fished Oras Oceans, dive balls yielding impossible IV spreads. These balls aren't gimmicks, they rewrite your playstyle. You start planning routes around dives and dusks, timing adventures like a pro. Evolutionarily, they fit the Pokeball timeline perfectly. Post-1925 mass production opened doors to specialization. Apricorn carvers in Hisui dreamed of sea and shadow balls, but factories made it real. Dive ball nods to oceanographers mapping Unova's Abyssa, dusk to spelunkers charting Sinnoh's underbelly. They're proof Pokeballs adapt faster than Pokemon. One caveat, you over-relay on them, and surface or daytime battles suffer. Balance your bag. Dive for depths, dusk for dark, standards for sun. Master that, and you're conquering environments others avoid. Radiation twist aside, these balls glow with innovation. But what happens when time itself becomes your weapon? Balls that tick with battle length or strike on turn 1. That's the battlefield where strategy meets the clock. Stick around for Chapter 9, Timing and Strategy, where we'll uncover how these ticking time bombs change everything you thought you knew about captures. You won't want to miss it. Timing and strategy. Ever tossed a Pokeball at a wild Pokemon that's barely out of its egg, only to watch it shake once and click shut effortlessly? That's the Nest Ball in action, a game changer designed specifically for those low-level encounters that can feel like a grind otherwise. Introduced in Generation 3, this ball scales its catch rate based on the Pokemon's level. The lower it is, the higher your odds skyrocket, up to a whopping 3.5 times boost at level 1. You see, back when Ruby and Sapphire dropped, players were diving into Hoenn's vast wilds, hunting for those precious baby Pokemon, like Winot or Azurill, the kinds that swarm early routes but slip away from standard balls like greased eels. Nest balls turn that frustration into triumph. Picture you're knee-deep in Route 104's grass, scouting for your first Slukoth starter alternative. That tiny, sleepy sloth Pokemon pops out at level 5, yawns once, and before it can even scratch itself, your Nest Ball homes in, sucking it up with barely a wiggle. No more wasting great balls on fodder. This one's built for the nursery raids, easing those starter hunts that define your early game journey. But why does it work that way? Developers knew new trainers needed a leg up. Low-level wilds are everywhere in those opening hours. Think Petalburg Woods, crawling with Wurmple or Silcoon, perfect for building your squad without premium balls. Nest Ball rewards patience in scouting nests, those clusters where babies hide. In Emerald, it shines even brighter during the Battle Frontier prep, where you farm Eviolite candidates or breed fodder. I've heard stories from veterans who swear by stacking nest balls for shiny hunting in the Safari Zone. Lower levels mean Shake City. And get this, its design echoes those ancient Apricorn balls from Hisui, handcrafted for fragile young spirits that couldn't handle rough captures. Fast forward to modern games like Scarlet and Violet, and it's still your go-to for Terror Raid babies or Outbreak swarms. You throw one at a level 3 Lechonk, and it feels almost unfair, like the ball was made to cradle these runts gently back to your party. Now shift gears to the collector's best friend, the Repeat Ball, What if I told you there's a ball that punishes you less for revisiting old favourites? Debuting alongside Nest in Generation 3, Repeat Ball gives a perfect 3.5 times multiplier, but only if you've already logged that species in your Pokédex. It's the ultimate nod to completionists, turning seen it before into a superpower. You know the drill. You're grinding for a second Torchic because your first evolved into a beast too early, or hunting gender ratios for breeding. Pop open your bag, spot that Repeat Ball, and bam, odds flip in your favour. No more cursing RNG on duplicates. This ball says, hey, you've earned this rematch. Think about Platinum's Route 205, where Beedle floods the grass. Caught one already? Repeat Ball turns it into a vacuum cleaner. Collectors in Heart Gold Soul Silver lived for this during the Pal Park transfers or bug-catching contests, snagging extras of rare bugs without burning Ultra Balls. It's pure strategy for the Sinnoh Dex grind or a Nova's repeat battles in black and white. Ever chased a full living Dex? Repeat Balls save your sanity on those post-game hunts for regional forms. In Sword and Shield, during the Isle of Armor DLC, you're rebattling Kubfu variants. Boom, Repeat Ball because you snagged the base already. Lore-wise, it ties into the mass production era post-1925, when factories churned out specialized spheres for obsessive trainers, cataloguing every variant. You feel that rush, don't you? That moment when the ball you've stocked for just in case becomes your MVP, rewarding your dedication with silky smooth captures. But hold on, because what happens when the battle drags on? Turns ticking by like a countdown to defeat. Enter the Timer Ball, the patient predator that flips stalemates on their head. Released in Generation 3 as well, this ball's catch rate starts standard, but ramps up with every turn elapsed. By turn 10, it's at 2 times, and by turn 20, it hits 4 times the base rate. It's for those epic slugfests where neither you nor the wild Pokémon backs down. You whittle down a stubborn Gyarados on the water, switches flying, status piling up, and suddenly 20 turns in, your Timer Ball becomes a guaranteed win. No more fleeing or blacking out. It turns attrition into advantage. Remember facing Rayquaza in Emerald Sky Pillar? That beast tanks hits forever, but savvy players pack Timer Balls for the long haul. Or in Diamond and Pearl, grinding for that elusive Spiritomb in the old chateau, turn, stack and timer seals the deal. It's genius for ultra wormholes in Sun and Moon, where legendaries stall with screens and heals. You sense the tension building, right? Each turn, you're one step closer to victory, the ball growing hungrier. In Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl, remakes amplify it for underground stalemates, or Romana's Park summons. Lore connects it to those early university experiments around 1925, tweaking formulas for prolonged engagements, much like Safari Balls evolved for non-battle zones. These three, Nest, Repeat, Timer, form the backbone of timing and strategy, each demanding you read the room, the roster, the clock. Nest Ball whispers to the young and wild, "Come home easy." Repeat Ball cheers the archivist in you. "You've got history here." Timer Ball growls, "Patience pays off." Together, they elevate catching from luck to chess. Take a hone playthrough, Route 118, water buzzing with Tentacool. You've seen them, battles dragging. Wait, low-level Wingull nearby. Nest for the baby, Repeat for the duplicate, Timer if it tanks. Your bag becomes a tactical arsenal. Dive deeper into Nest Ball's legacy. In Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, it pairs brutally with DexNav chaining Lobies for perfect IVs without mercy. Shiny Hunters in X and Y hoard them for friend Safari babies, odds compounding. Ever tried breeding a competitive Ditto army? Nest Balls make early game Rattata farms trivial. And in Legends Arceus, while not directly there, its spirit lives in those fragile Apricorn crafts for young noble challengers. You can almost hear the wood whittling, calibrated for tender levels. Repeat Ball's collector cred explodes in Sword Shield's max raid dens. Caught a toxicity already? Repeat farms the shiny. In Legends ZA upcoming, expect it for Hisui and revisits. Anecdotes flood forums. One trainer caught 500 Bidoofs for a dex. Repeat Balls turning hours into minutes. It embodies the Pokédex grind soul. Knowledge as power. Timer Ball stories are legendary. Black-White's Nimbasa gym rematches. Timer for those endless Ordino herds. Scarlet Violet's 5-star Terra raids, with shields up, turns fly, timer drops. In anime lore, Ash uses prototypes in prolonged captures, echoing its roots. You feel that shift, the ball pulsing stronger, as exhaustion sets in. Layer strategies combine them. Early game, nest for levels 1 to 10. Mid-game, repeat for dex fillers. Late-game bosses, timer for the War of Wills. In competitive breeding ranches, nest starts the chain, repeat stocks variants. Against swarms in Legends games, timer for holdouts. But here's the thrill. What if your strategy hinges on all three in one hunt? Imagine Paldea's Savannah. Level 4 Smoliv nests everywhere. Grab nest for the baby, but you need a male. Repeat if you've got one. Battle drags? Timer. It's poetry in motion. These balls syncing with your rhythm. Expand on mechanics through tales. Nests formula? Catch rate multiplies by a factor dropping from 3.5x at level 1 to 1x at 30 plus. You math it out subconsciously after a few hunts. Repeats flat 3.5x post-catch feels like cheating for veterans. Timer's linear ramp, base +1 per 3 turns, capped at 4x, builds dread and delight. Historical pivot, post-1925, Sylph Cup Labs birthed these amid Apricorn decline. Kurtz Crafts inspired Nest's gentleness, Pokédex tech-fueled repeat, Battle Analytics birthed Timer. Games iterated, Gen 4 refined rates, Gent. Fishive added quick synergy, Gen 8 tied to Dynamax drags. Player impact, revolutionized metas. Speedrunners stock nest for skips. Collectors praise repeats efficiency. Marathon battles bow to timer. You, trainer, wield timing as your sword. Real-world parallels? Like anglers matching lures to fish size, nest for fry, repeat for known waters, timer for marathon hauls. Yet, pitfalls exist. Waste nest on high levels, useless. Repeat predex entry, standard ball. Timer too early. Snooze, mastery demands foresight. In multiplayer, share stacks. Friends toss repeat for your duplicates. Raids, timer for shared grinds. Future-proof? With open worlds, these shine brighter. Terrestrial anomalies at low levels, nest, revisits, repeat. Epic bosses, timer. You've mastered the pulse now, the beat of battle dictating your ball. But what comes when strategy meets luxury? When balls transcend capture for comfort and prestige? Up next, Chapter 10, Luxury and Premier, where we uncover the balls that pamper your team and mark your triumphs like nothing else. You won't want to miss how they redefine trainer status. Luxury and Premier. Did you know that not every Poké Ball is designed for the raw thrill of capture? Some are crafted for the finer things in a trainer's life, turning a simple catch into a statement of style and success. We're diving into the world of luxury and premier balls, where prestige meets practicality and every throw whispers elite status. Let's start with the luxury ball. Picture yourself as a top-tier breeder surrounded by a nursery full of Pokémon eager to bond. This ball isn't about overpowering a wild encounter, it's about building relationships from the very first moment. When you catch a Pokémon in a luxury ball, friendship levels skyrocket right away. That means faster evolution for species like Golbat or Phoebus, quicker access to those powerful moves that require high happiness, and most importantly, happier Pokémon overall. Why does that matter to you? Because in breeding, joy is everything. Eggs hatch with better IVs and natures when your team is content, giving you an edge in competitive battles or shiny hunts that can take weeks. Think about it. You've just snagged a rare Dratini from the Dragon's Den. Toss it in an ordinary Poké Ball, and you're grinding affection through endless berries and soothing sessions. But slip it into a luxury ball, and bam, it's like you've been best friends for months. Trainers swear by this for their prize breeders. In the games, it doubles the rates at which friendship builds, cutting your time investment in half. I've heard stories from veteran players who filled their boxes with luxury court teams just to dominate daycares. One guy on the forums shared how his luxury ball Eevee line produced flawless offspring overnight, turning his hobby into a battling dynasty. But here's where it gets luxurious in more ways than one. These balls aren't cheap. They're gold-trimmed masterpieces, with that unmistakable black and gold design screaming wealth. In the Pokemon world, carrying a luxury ball isn't just functional, it's a flex. Elite trainers flash them at contests or tournaments to intimidate opponents before the battle even starts. Remember the Hoenn region? Silph Co. rolled these out as a high-end product, and suddenly every wannabe champion was saving up Poké dollars for that shine. You buy them in bulk from department stores, in cities like Lily Cove or Veilstone, but good luck affording a stack without grinding Victory Road. Now, shift gears to the Premier Ball. If luxury is about comfort, Premier is pure pageantry. These pristine white spheres, with their red stripes, look like they belong in a museum, not your backpack. Catch rate, identical to a standard Pokeball. No bonuses, no gimmicks. So why do trainers lose their minds over them? Prestige, my friend. Pure, unadulterated prestige. Premier Balls debuted as event giveaways, handed out at real-world Pokemon events or in-game distributions. Think Pokemon Center promotions or those legendary game launches where fans lined up for hours. In Ruby and Sapphire remakes, you get a stack after catching 500 Pokemon in a single save file, a badge of endurance. But the real magic? They're tied to moments that matter. Caught your first shiny Regirock in one during an event? That's a trophy that'll make your friends jealous for years. Trainers treat Premier Balls like collector's items. You won't waste them on a common Pidgey. They're reserved for milestone catches, legendaries, or that perfect IV Ditto. In the anime, Ash gets one during a special episode, and it becomes his go-to for showing off. Stats-wise, they're vanilla, but that flawless white shell doesn't scuff or fade. It stays pristine, a constant reminder of your achievements. Ever seen a trainer's display case with rows of Premier Court shinies? It's intoxicating. You start hunting events just for the balls themselves, building a collection that rivals any gym leaders. What elevates both these balls to status symbol territory is how they reflect your journey. Luxury says, I'm invested in the long game, breeding powerhouses while you scramble with basics. Premier shouts, I've been there for the big moments, collecting history in every throw. Together they mark the trainer who's graduated from novice tosses to connoisseur catches. But hold on, nothing this glamorous comes without shadows. Here's the shocking underbelly you never hear in official Pokédex entries. Black market fakes are flooding regions like Sinnoh and Paldea. Counterfeit luxury balls, promising fake friendship boosts, premier knockoffs with shoddy paint that chips after one use. We've got reports from Unova smugglers peddling them in back alleys of Castelia City, sparking full-on authenticity wars. Imagine this. You're at a tournament. Your prized luxury court Garchomp suddenly underperforms, friendship dropping like a rock. Turns out it was a fake, hollow core, no special coating, just a scam that tanks your breeding program. Premier fakes are even worse. They look perfect until battle, when the die bleeds, marking your Pokémon as a fraud. Official raids in Kalos busted rings producing thousands, using cheap plastic from abandoned factories. Trainers have formed vigilante groups, scanning balls with apps that detect Silphco holograms. One infamous case in Johto involved a breeder losing his entire ranch to bogus stock, leading to lawsuits that rocked the Pokémon League. Why the surge? Demand skyrockets with shiny chasing metas and breeding comps. Fakes undercut prices. A legit luxury runs 1,000 Poké dollars, while bootlegs go for 200. But the risks? Catastrophic. Pokémon caught in fakes suffer status glitches, lower happiness caps, even rejection in official trades. The League now mandates verification at events with UV stamps and microchips. You think twice before buying from shady vendors in Gala's wild area markets. This underground economy has trainers paranoid. Trading tips on spotting tells. Real luxuries have a subtle weight balance. Premiers are faint metallic rings when tapped. Dive deeper into luxury's lore and it ties back to the Apricorn roots. Early luxury variants in Hisui used rare black and gold Apricorns, reserved for clan leaders. Fast forward to modern times, and Kurt's descendants supposedly consulted on the design. In games like Platinum, luxury balls boost egg cycles, making them must-haves for Masuda method grinders. Want that shiny Charmander? Luxury parents mean faster hatches and better odds through sheer volume. For Premier, the event history is gold. Generation 3 gave them post-500 catches, but events like the 2004 Pokémon Rocks America Fest showered fans with stacks. In Sword and Shield, Dynamax raids dropped them as rewards, tying into the spectacle. Collectors hoard unopened ones, valuing packaging as much as the ball. Anecdotes abound. A kid in 2010 snagged a Premier Celebi from an event, now worth thousands on auction sites. As a trainer, how do you incorporate them? Stock luxuries for your core team rotations, catch a new Mon, swap it in for affection grinding. Premiers for your trophy case squad, the ones you parade at contests. Pair a luxury court Milotic with a Premier Rayquaza, and your lineup oozes class. Battles become theatre. Opponents hesitate, knowing your balls back elite training. But the black market twist adds grit. Forums buzz with horror stories. A Paldean rancher bought fake luxuries, hatched eggs with deformed stats, nearly quit the game. Authenticity wars rage on Reddit, with mods banning suspect trades. Silphco fights back with serialized numbering. Scan yours today via the Pokédex app. Real ones glow under blacklight, fakes just mock you. These balls redefine success. Not just catches, but legacies. You've battled hordes, now curate with class. Luxury nurtures your empire. Premier immortalizes triumphs. Fakes threaten it all, but true trainers spot the shine. And speaking of balls that heal more than egos, up next in Chapter 11, Healing and Speed, where we uncover orbs that patch wounds mid-battle and snatch victories on turn 1. You won't believe how they turn desperate fights into instant wins. Stick around. Wait, that's not enough. Let's expand because you deserve the full story. Consider real trainer testimonials. One competitive player from the VGC scene credits luxury balls for his world's top 8 run. His Dragapult evolved days early, mega evolving with perfect sync. He bought legit stacks from the battle tower, avoiding the fake flood. Another, a shiny hunter, used premiers exclusively for events, boasting a perfect album. It's not the catch rate, he says, it's the story the ball tells. Lore-wise, luxury ties to friendship mechanics, evolving from Gen 2's happiness system. Before, it was all vitamins and walks. Now, one ball jumpstarts it. Premier's giveaway routes echo real Pokémon marketing. Exclusive drops build hype, In manga, trainers duel over rare premiers, adding drama. Black market details? Interpol Pokemon Division cracked a Johto ring last year, seizing 10,000 fakes. Leaders confessed sourcing plastic from Defiant Orbs knockoffs. Trainers now use ball appraisers, like old coin experts. One war story. 2 breeders in Unova settled a dispute with the authenticity duel. Loser forfeited their stock. Gameplay depth. In breeding chains, luxury cuts generations needed for perfect IVs. Stack with Everstone for natures, Destiny not for spreads. Your ranch becomes a factory. Premier? Trade fodder kings. Events make them hot commodities. Cultural impact. Fan art explodes with luxury trainer OCs, premier wielding idols. Merch sells out, replica balls for desks. You feel it. Holding a real one elevates your game. Scenarios for you. Facing a rival's ace, luxury team bonds faster post-capture, ready for rematch. Event grind, premier stack for legendaries. Beware fakes in online trades, verify first. This duo cements trainer hierarchy. Basics for scrubs. These for savants. You've earned them. Now claim your shine. Still building? Compare to great balls. Those boost rates but no soul. Luxury invests in future. Premier preserves past. Fakes? They erode trust like counterfeit badges. Historical note. Luxury prototyped in Gen 3 dev notes as Friend Ball Make Sane. Premier born from fan feedback for cosmetics. Both exploded in popularity. Trainer tip. Farm poker dollars via Battle Maison for luxuries. Events for premiers, check Cerebi calendars. Emotional pull. That first luxury hatch, shiny and smiling, priceless. Premier legendary release, epic. The wars continue. Stay vigilant. Your collection's integrity depends on it. Finally, as we pivot to restorative powerhouses, Chapter 11. Healing and speed awaits with balls that mend and blitz. How do they save your squad from the brink? You have to hear this. Healing and speed. What if the Pokeball that saves your team isn't about brute force capture rates, but about pulling a Pokemon back from the edge of oblivion right when you need it most? Enter the Heal Ball, the unsung hero of every trainer who's ever watched their allies stagger through poison or paralysis, HP flickering like a dying flame. This isn't just another sphere in your bag, it's a lifeline crafted for those nail-biting moments when victory hangs by a thread. Scenario, and I know you've lived it. You're deep in a cave, facing a wild Crobat that's inflicted toxic status on your prized Lucario. It's barely standing, every turn risking a feint, but you can't switch out without losing momentum. You toss the Heal Ball. It connects, the red light engulfs the bat, and seconds later, your new capture emerges fully restored, HP topped off, status wiped clean, ready to fight alongside you as if the battle never happened. That's the magic here, folks. The Heal Ball doesn't just catch, it heals on capture, replenishing all HP to maximum and curing any status conditions like burn, freeze, or sleep. No trip to the Pokemon Center required. It's the savior for weakened allies, turning potential losses into immediate gains. But how did something this clutch come to be? Trainers have always pushed the boundaries of capture tech, and the Heal Ball traces its roots to the post-war era of Pokeball innovation around the late 1930s, when medical researchers collaborated with Silph-Co prototypes. They infused Apricorn extracts with synthetic healing compounds derived from berries like Auron and citrus, stabilizing the energy matrix inside the ball. Early tests were chaotic, picture lab-coated scientists dodging enraged Tauros that popped out healed and charging. Yet it worked. By Generation 4, in Diamond and Pearl, it hit the shelves, and suddenly, strategies exploded. No more wasting turns on full restores or risking feints on low health catches. Think about competitive play. You're in a tournament, your opponent's sweeper is battered after a close exchange, status creeping in from a will-o-wisp. Instead of conceding the switch, you heal ball it. Boom, it's yours, revived, and now bolstering your team with its full stats intact. Pros swear by it for Ultra Beasts, or legendaries, that hit hard but falter under pressure. I've heard stories from veterans who caught shiny Rayquaza variants this way. The dragon roaring back at full power mid-battle. It's not higher catch rate than a standard Pokeball, about 1x, but that healing payoff? Priceless. You feel that rush, don't you? The turnaround from despair to dominance. And it's versatile beyond battles. Breeding enthusiasts use it to snag fainted parents without resetting, preserving IVs and natures. In the wild, for those marathon hunts, it means chaining encounters without constant retreats. One trainer I read about in a fan forum spent 72 hours grinding for a perfect ditto, heal balls saving dozens of near misses. Status from caves or grass gone, low HP from prolonged fights fixed. It's like having a portable revive built into your arsenal. Now, shift gears with me, because while the heal ball mends the wounded, there's a ball that strikes before the fight even heats up, capitalizing on that split-second window when wild Pokemon are still shaking off their surprise. The Quick Ball. This one's a Predator's tool, boasting a whopping 5IX catch rate on the very first turn of battle, plummeting to a measly 1x after that. It shines on turn 1, punishing slow starters who lumber into the fray unprepared. You toss it immediately upon encounter. No weakening needed, no status inflicted. That Garchomp lumbering out, snagged before it can Dragon Rush. The Slaking yawning awake, yours before it sets up. It's brutal efficiency for speed demons in the wild. In games like Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire onward, it's a staple for shiny hunters and dex completions, especially against bulky foes that resist weakening. Why grind when you can blitz? But here's where it gets juicy. A revelation buried in old trainer logs that nearly sparked real-world feuds. The Quick Ball's origins? Born from speedster rivalries among elite battlers in the Johto circuits of the 1940s. Picture rival trainers, obsessed with outspeeding each other, dueling not just Pokemon, but egos. One group, the Blitz Brigade, demanded balls that rewarded raw initiative, capturing before opponents could react. Their rivals, the Tankers, argued it ruined fair play, favouring glass cannon teams. Tensions boiled over at the Goldenrod tournaments, fists nearly flying, petitions flooding the league. Legend has it, a near brawl outside the arena led to emergency rules, birthing the Quick Ball as a compromise. Supreme on turn 1, useless later, forcing balanced strategies. It nearly caused trainer duels, folks, turning friendly competition into frontier justice standoffs. Fast forward, and it's revolutionised encounters. In Sword and Shield Dynamax raids, Quick Balls end them before the first move. Legendaries like Zacian toss on sight. The drop-off after turn 1? Genius design, preventing abuse on weakened foes where Ultra Balls dominate. You learn patience, timing that opener perfectly. Pair it with a Smeargle sketching fake out for paralysis insurance, or adrenaline orb boosted flying types for immediate outspeed. Trainers whisper about Quick Ball gambles, heart-pounding decisions that pay off huge or flop hilariously. Synergy with Heal Ball? Lethal? Open with Quick Ball on fast threats, fall back to heal on battered tanks. Your bag becomes a tactical masterpiece. Remember that viral clip from a Worlds qualifier? Kid Quick Balls a Dragapult turn 1, then heals a rival's Corvic Knight later, flipping the match. These balls aren't gimmicks, they're evolutions in trainer craft, responding to how wild Pokemon behave. Slow evolutions like Metapod, Quick Ball feasts, status heavy caves, Heal Ball cleans up. dive deeper into lore. Early prototypes failed spectacularly. Quick balls exploding on delayed throws. Heal balls overhealing to berserk levels. Sylph refined them with gyro stabilizers and nanomeds, mass-producing by the 1950s. In anime episodes, Ash nearly botches a quick ball on a shiny Noctowl, the tension electric. Games balance them masterfully. Quick ball's viability charts spike in early game routes, heal in late game marathons. Strategically, you adapt. Against speed tiers, quick ball punishes. For endurance, heal ball sustains. Ever tried a monotype run? Heal balls salvage poison weak grass types. Quick balls nab elusive flyers before fleeing. Community mods even experiment with hyper quick heals, but canon keeps it pure. Fun fact, in spin-offs like Masters, they tweak effects for mobile meta. Quick ball is a starter luxury. You feel that pull, right? The way these balls transform random encounters into chess matches. Weakened ally down, heal ball mercy, slow starter emerging, quick ball execution. They've saved countless teams, ended hunts prematurely, and fueled rivalries that echo today. But hold on, because as we race through modern mass-produced marvels, whispers from ancient times call us back. Up next, Hisui's forgotten variants reveal balls so primal they predate even these healers and speedsters, carved secrets that could rewrite your entire capture playbook. You won't want to miss how they threw everything we know into chaos. I hope you're as amazed by this as I am. If you want to stay updated on more content like this, make sure to subscribe and join our community of curious minds. Trust me, what's coming next will challenge everything you thought you knew. Hisui's forgotten variants. In the rugged wilds of Hisui, where every throw could mean survival or disaster, Poké Balls evolved into something radically different. Handcrafted wonders with throw mechanics that demanded skill, strategy, and a deep understanding of the land itself. These weren't the effortless lobs you're used to in modern battles. No, the Moon Ball, Swift Ball, and Feather Ball redefined capture entirely, turning a simple toss into a high-stakes aerial ballet. Let's start with the Moon Ball, a luminescent sphere born from rare star-kissed Apricorns that only ripened under the cover of night. You see, in Hisui, trainers didn't just aim and release. The Moon Ball's lightweight shell, infused with ethereal essences, allowed it to arc gracefully through the air, like a crescent moon slicing the darkness. Picture this. You're stalking a nocturnal Pokémon, say a Clefairy, glowing faintly in the moonlight. With a modern Poké Ball, you'd chuck it straight on. Easy enough. But the Moon Ball? It had to be thrown upward at a precise angle, exploiting updrafts from the chilly Hisuian winds to loop high before plummeting down. Get it wrong, and it sails harmlessly over your target's head. Nail it, and that superior catch rate against Moonstone evolutions kicks in, sealing the deal with otherworldly precision. Historians believe these balls were crafted by ancient artisans who timed their work to lunar cycles, whispering incantations over the Apricorns to bind celestial energy. One failed throw could scatter your quarry into the shadows forever, forcing you to wait for the next full moon. Now, shift gears to the Swift Ball, the speed demon of Hisui's arsenal. This one was heavier at the core, packed with dense swiftwood resins that made it slice through the air like an arrow from a champion archer's bow. Throw mechanics here challenged everything you know about Pokémon capture. In today's games, speed is just a stat check on turn 1. Back then, you had to lead your target perfectly, accounting for its evasive dashes across the terrain. The Swift Ball's design rewarded aggressive, low-angle throws. Hurl it too high, and its weight dragged it down prematurely. Too flat, and wind resistance stalled it mid-flight. It excelled against fast starters like Starly or Bidoof in open fields, boasting that massive first turn catch bonus echoes of in the quick ball. Legends from Hisui's scrolls describe epic chases. A trainer pursued by a stampeding herd, flinging a swift ball into the fray to snag the lead Tauros before it trampled everything. One account tells of Ray, the Survey Corps hero, threading a swift ball through a blizzard to capture a fleeing Hisui and Zoroark. The mechanics weren't forgiving. Modern recreations using synthetic materials crumple under the same velocities, proving these were products of a lost era. Then there's the feather ball, the feather-like marvel that turned impossible distances into playgrounds. Crafted from apricorns hollowed and filled with plumes from majestic birds like the Hisuian chateau, this ball floated on the slightest breeze, allowing throws up to 3 times farther than standard apricorn orbs. You had to master spin techniques, impart a topspin, and it glided straight, backspin, and it hovered mid-air for a stealthy drop. This redefined throwing norms completely, especially in Hisui's vast obstacle-filled landscapes. Imagine scaling Jubilife Village's cliffs, spotting a rare Pokémon perched on a distant ledge. A regular ball bounces off rocks halfway. The feather ball sails true, its catch rate shining against flying types or those in elevated spots. Trainers trained for months to control its drift, using windsocks made from glameow tails to predict gusts. Fail, and it drifts off course into the void. Succeed and you've claimed a prize no one else could reach. These weren't gimmicks, they were necessities in a region where Pokémon roamed free across untamed expanses, demanding balls that bent physics to the trainer's will. What made these Hisui-exclusive dynamics so revolutionary? Modern throwing is child's play. Point, press, pray. In Hisui, every variant interacted with the environment in ways that shattered those norms. Moon balls danced with moonlight and mist, gaining altitude in low visibility. Swift balls punched through rain and foliage, ignoring drag that would doom lesser spheres. Feather balls rode thermals from volcanic vents or river valleys, turning geography into an ally. Region-exclusive ingredients tied them to Hisui's ecology. Apricorns fermented with local berries for that perfect balance of weight, buoyancy, and adhesion. You couldn't just swap them out. A moon ball in broad daylight lost its lift, plummeting like a stone. Swift balls in calm air veered wildly without wind to guide them. Feather balls overloaded in storms, shredding apart mid-flight. This forced trainers to adapt on the fly, scouting weather patterns, terrain, and even Pokémon behaviours before committing. It was capture as chess, not checkers, challenging the one-size-fits-all mentality of later eras. But here's the twist that hits hardest. Those ancient recipes vanished with Hisui's isolation. The exact ratios of apricorn sap, celestial dust for moon balls, swiftwood sap for the swift, and plume essences for the feather. They're lost to time. Modern labs have tried recreating them, poring over fragmented scrolls from the Galaxy team's archives. Early attempts in Kalos used synthetic polymers to mimic the moon ball's arc. Disaster. They shattered on impact, releasing unstable energies that warped nearby Pokémon temporarily. Swift ball knockoffs, tested in Unova's windswept plains, either stalled dead or overshot by miles, embedding in trees and sparking forest fires. Featherball prototypes? They floated away uncontrollably, littering skies like escaped balloons and prompting emergency retrieval teams. One infamous recreation project in Galar ended with a featherball variant igniting mid-air from friction, raining fiery debris on a tournament. Scientists admit defeat. Without Hisui's pristine, untouched apricorns and rituals, the throw mechanics can't be matched. Today's quick ball borrows the swift speed ethos but lacks the heft. The wing ball nods to the feather but clips too soon. And moon balls? faded into obscurity, their lunar magic reduced to a footnote. You might wonder, how did this knowledge fade? Blame the Great Migration. As Hisui modernized post-temple cataclysm, mass production took over. Sylph, Cummers and Devon prioritized metal casings over finicky organics, standardizing throws for factories over fields. Artisans who knew the chance died out, their workshops buried under Jubilife's expansion. Fragments survive in legends, Arceus, where you relive those mechanics firsthand, the satisfying thwack of a perfect swift throw, the feather's gentle descent. But even there it's simulated. The real peril of a botched lob, the adrenaline of mid-air corrections, gone. Today's trainers toss without thought, blind to how Hisui's variants elevated capture to an art form. Think about your own battles. Ever whiffed a throw on a fleeing foe? In Hisui, that was training day one. Moon balls taught patience with their celestial patience. Swift balls honed reflexes against blurs. Feather balls demanded harmony with the skies. These weren't luxuries. They challenged norms, making every capture a testament to mastery. Region exclusive by design, they locked power to Hisui's soul, ensuring outsiders couldn't dominate without earning the land's respect. Dive deeper into the lore, and you'll find tales of legendary feats. One elder recounted crafting a moon ball during a lunar eclipse to fell a rampaging lunatone terrorizing obsidian fieldlands. The throw arced impossibly high, eclipsing stars before striking true. Swift balls starred in clan rivalries where teams competed in precision hurling contests. First to tag a moving dummy won bragging rights. Feather balls, reserved for sky hunts, launched from Corvic Nightbacks to net-elusive flying Pokémon mid-migration. These stories aren't myths. They're etched in clan totems, warning that tampering with recipes invites curses, like the 1920s lab explosion that halted early replication efforts. Fast forward and echoes linger. The Dusk Ball inherits the Moon's Night affinity, but without the throw flair. Quick Ball steals Swift's opener punch, sans the weight dynamics. Even the Dream Ball flirts with Feather's lightness for sleepers. Yet none recapture the full symphony. Modern norms prioritize reliability over risk. But at what cost? You've lost the thrill of a throw that could fail spectacularly or succeed epically. What if we could revive them? Amateur crafters in fan communities experiment with 3D printed Apricorn shells, but results flop. Moon proxies sink, Swift clones wobble, feather fakes tangle in vines. Official recreations? Nintendo teases them in spin-offs, but purists cry foul. Without authentic Hisui vibes, they're shadows. This loss underscores Poké Ball evolution, from bespoke masterpieces to assembly line staples. As we wrap this dive into Hisui's forgotten variants, you can feel the ache of what's vanished. Throw mechanics that turned trainers into athletes, region dynamics that demanded genius. But hold on, because the story explodes forward in the next chapter. Generation Evolutions. How did these ancient arts spark the explosion of balls tailored to Pokémon generations themselves? You won't want to miss the wild transformations that followed. Generation Evolutions. By Generation 4, Poké Balls weren't just tools anymore. They were precision instruments designed for the shadows, the rush of battle, and even the thrill of global trades. You know those moments in Diamond, Pearl, or Platinum where you're deep in a cave system, the screen dimming as night falls outside? That's when the Dusk Ball steps into the spotlight. This sleek black and purple sphere doubles your catch rate in dark places or after sunset, turning frustrating late-game grinds into triumphs. Picture this. You're hunting a Murkrow in the depths of Victory Road, its ghost-type evasion mocking your standard throws. One dusk, ball arcs through the gloom, and suddenly it's yours. No more endless weakening battles. But Game Freak didn't stop at darkness. They introduced the Heal Ball right alongside it, a soft pink orb that doesn't just capture, it mends. Toss it at a battered foe, and upon success that Pokémon emerges fully restored, HP topped off, status ailments wiped clean. Why settle for a fainted teammate when you can rebuild your squad on the fly? In Platinum's Distortion world, where every encounter drains you, this ball feels like a lifeline, letting you chain catches without retreating to a centre. Then there's the Quick Ball, the adrenaline junkie's dream. On the very first turn of battle, before the enemy can even twitch, it triples your odds. You see a shiny Bidoof pop up while surfing, most trainers would sigh and battle it down. Not you. Quick Ball, first shake, done. It's ruthless efficiency, punishing hesitation, and rewarding split-second decisions. These Gen 4 additions alone reshaped how you approached the wild, forcing you to read the environment like never before. Speaking of environments, enter the Park Ball. This one's a quirky white-green beauty born from the Pal Park feature, that nostalgic transfer zone bridging Hoenn and Sinnoh. But its real magic shines in Wi-Fi trades and events, where it captures Pokémon at standard rates yet gives them that perpetual party vibe, boosting friendship faster than a luxury ball. Imagine trading for a foreign Dratini over Wi-Fi. It arrives in a Park Ball, ready to evolve into a loyal Dragonite without the usual bonding grind. Game Freak was thinking ahead, making cross-region friendships seamless. And for those shiny event exclusives, the Cherish Ball arrives like a trophy case in sphere form. Shiny legendaries from distributions, like the event Darkrai or Shaman, always come sealed inside. It's not about catch rates, it's prestige. You open your box, see that golden PID tag, and feel like a collector king. Gen 4 piled on these innovations, each one a response to player feedback. More strategy, more healing, more connectivity. Fast forward to Generation 5 and the evolution accelerates. Black and White introduced the Dream Ball, a cosmic swirl of purple and gold tied to the mysterious dream world. In battle, it shines on sleeping Pokémon, quadrupling catch rates when they're dozing. But lore-wise, it's pure event fuel, distributed for Wi-Fi wonders and tied to the Gen 5 online hub. You're in a Unova cave, Hypnosis lands, Yawn kicks in, boom, Dream Ball seals the deal. It captures that ethereal vibe of the series' online dreams, making bedtime battles poetic. Gen 5 kept the momentum with subtle tweaks too, like Premier Balls as daily Battle Tower rewards, stacking your arsenal with cosmetics that scream dedication. But the real evolution was in how these balls integrated with new mechanics, like triple battles where quick balls could snatch leads before chaos erupted. Now Generation 6 in X and Y cranked up the fairy tale flair without brand new balls, but it refined the lineup. Carlos's mega evolutions demanded precision captures beforehand, so you leaned harder on nest balls for low-level wilds in Route 1 swarms, or dive balls for underwater relicanth hunts. The ecosystem matured, with balls like Timer Ball becoming clutch in prolonged boss fights against roaming legendaries. You enter Lumiose City, bag heavy, with specialised spheres, feeling like a tactical master. Yet the true explosion hits in Generation 7 with Sun and Moon. Alola's open-world vibe birthed the Beast Ball, a jagged black and yellow monstrosity crafted solely for Ultra Beasts. Standard Pokémon laugh it off, with near-zero catch rates, but against those otherworldly invaders like Nihilego or Kartana, it performs like a souped-up Ultra Ball. You're warping through Ultra space, tentacles lashing, and only the Beast Ball has a prayer. It's the ultimate specialist tool, useless 99% of the time, but godsend for that 1% apocalypse scenario. Don't sleep on the Sport Ball either, that retro red-white nod to minigames in the Festival Plaza. Toss it in Pokeathlon-style challenges or event stalls, and it captures prizes at base rates, but its charm lies in the gameplay loop. Picture competing in Alolan festivals, nailing ring tosses to earn one for a rare comfy, pure joy wrapped in competition. Gen 7 made balls part of the cultural fabric, blending capture with carnival energy. By Sword and Shield in Generation 8, the count was ballooning. Galar introduced no core new balls, but amplified regionals like the Heavy Ball for chunky foes in the wild area, or the Love Ball revisited for opposite gender pairs during Max Raid dens. Dynamax battles favoured repeat balls for species you'd already logged, turning raids into collection marathons. You raid a Gigantamax Corvic Knight, fail the standard throw, swap to repeat, click, yours. Hisui in Legends. Arceus revolutionised everything, reverting to ancient Apricorn crafts, but evolving them into era-specific variants. The Jet Ball for speedsters, Wing Ball mimicking bird flight paths, each with unique throw physics. But these feed into the modern lineage, proving balls adapt across timelines. Brilliant for stealth catches on aggressive wilds, they make you feel like a pioneer inventor. Gen 9's Scarlet and Violet push further with Terrestrial phenomena. No fresh balls yet, but Terra raids demand strategy. Quick ball on turn 1 before Crystal shift types. Dusk in Starry Paldea Nights. The open world tests every ball in your kit. From Sport Balls in Blueberry Academy minigames to Beast Balls, hypothetically, for Paradox Beasts, though they resist like champs. Hold on, because here's the mind blower that ties it all together. From those humble Apricorn origins we covered earlier, the family has ballooned to 38 total variants when you count every regional ghost, event phantom, and game-exclusive oddity. 38, that's Poké, Great, Ultra, Master, your classics, then Net, Dive, Nest, Repeat, Timer, Luxury, Premier, Dusk, Heal, Quick Park, Cherish, Dream, Beast, Sport, plus Hisui and Jet, Wing, Swift, Heavy, Leaden, Feather, Rocket, Stone variants, and outliers like the Safari's Ghosts or Stadium Specials. Some are spectres, only summonable in code hacks or defunct events, like the elusive GS Ball from Crystal Lore that never fully materialised in modern play. Others haunt spin-offs, whispering promises of captures in worlds we'll never revisit. You might think, wait, only 34 in mainline tables? Dig deeper, and those extras emerge. Park Balls from Pal Park data miners confirm, Cherish for every shiny event PID, Dream from BW2 Wi-Fi ashes. It's a hidden archive, each one a chapter in Poké Ball evolution, responding to player demands for niches. Wi-Fi eras birthed Park and Cherish for trades and trophies. Ultra crises demanded Beast. Minigame fads spawned Sport. Why does this matter to you, the trainer piecing together your perfect team? Because each generation's evolutions mirror our own grind. Gen 4 taught adaptation to light and speed. Gen 5 dreamed big online. Gen 7 weaponized against invaders. You felt it. That rush when the right ball clicks, turning a pixelated sphere into destiny. Experiment in Scarlet's terrarium. Stack quick into Dream on a sleeping Tira Ghost. Watch odds skyrocket. Or hoard Cherish for your shiny vault, each one a badge of hunts past. But not every ball bows to your command. Some lurk in narrative shadows, locked behind stories that defy capture logic. What enigmas hide in those story-locked vaults where balls become plot twists rather than inventory? Stick around for Chapter 14, Story-Locked Enigmas, because the rarest throws aren't about rates, they're about unravelling mysteries that could rewrite your entire Pokédex. Let's unpack this generational saga deeper, because 38 variants demand stories. Take the Cherish Ball's Event Dynasty. In Platinum, you hustled for the member card Darkrai, snagging it in Cherish Glory. Heart Gold Soul Silver upped it with Arceus events, each distribution a Wi-Fi pilgrimage. By now, with events long dormant, those balls are time capsules. Your Oro 9 Manaphy still pristine, friendship maxed, ready for battles decades later. They're not just containers, they're heirlooms. Park Ball's Wi-Fi legacy hits nostalgic. Pal Park let you repatriate Kanto starters, but the ball's DNA carried into global trade station trades. Swap a Sinnoh exclusive Spiritomb? Park Ball ensures it bonds fast, easing competitive viability. Players traded billions, each Park Ball a digital handshake across oceans. Gen 5's Dream Ball evokes Lost Worlds. Tied to the Entree Forest online, it captured legendaries like Mew in ethereal haze. In-game, its sleep bonus synergized with Yawn users, turning Lilligant sweeps into capture fests. You battled Zoroark illusions, it dozes, Dream Ball, perfect. Beast Ball's Alolan terror is visceral. Ultra, Megalopolis breaches spawn Pheromosa. Standard Ultra Ball shakes thrice and flees. Beast Ball, steady wobbles, conquest. Post-game, it teases on legendaries but flops, enforcing its niche tyranny. Sport Ball, meanwhile, gamifies capture. Mantine Surf minigames reward them for Lapras catches, or Battle Royal domes dole them out. It's casual fun distilled. Toss, win a prize Pokémon, repeat. Hisui's evolutions, game changers. Apricorn mixes yield balls with personalities. Swift Ball triples speedsters like Staraptor. Stone Ball for rocks like Graveler. Throw mechanics demand aiming, wind-adjusted arcs, immersive as hurling a real fruit. They bridge ancient to modern, with Smoke Ball echoes in Smoke Stealth. Even ghosts count toward 38. Delta-mined Safari Balls from Yellow's code, unused Moon Balls in some ROMs, or the GS Ball's mythical shell for Celebi quests. Stadium 2's experimental variants, spin-off only. They're the Pokeball multiverse, proving every era adds layers. You see the pattern? Evolutions per gen respond to worlds built. Gen 4's connectivity for DS Online boom. Gen 7's beasts for narrative invasions. Totaling 38 shocks because most lists cap at 26 core, miss the ephemera, and you're blind. Hunt them in ROM hacks or events. Feel the completionist fire. Imagine your bag, 38 slots, each a generational milestone. Quick for raids, beast for anomalies, cherish for flexes. This evolution cements Pokeballs as living history, adapting faster than Pokemon themselves. Yet amid this arsenal, enigmas persist. Balls chained to tails, defying your bag's grasp. Chapter 14, Story-Locked Enigmas, unveils them next, where capture isn't skill, it's destiny's riddle. You ready to solve it? Story-Locked Enigmas. What if I told you that not every Pokeball sits patiently in your bag, waiting for any wild encounter? Some only reveal themselves during pivotal moments in a trainer's saga, forging unbreakable links to the stories that define entire regions. These are the story-locked enigmas, Pokeballs that emerge from the shadows of quests, tie themselves to your journey's narrative, and then vanish like whispers from a legend once their purpose is fulfilled. Take the Friend Ball, for instance. You know it as the pastel green sphere that speeds up friendship growth, turning a caught Pokémon into a loyal companion overnight. But dig deeper, and you'll find its true power locked within tales of unbreakable bonds. In the games, it's not just a tool, it's a narrative beacon. Picture yourself in Johto, fresh from New Barktown, when Professor Elm hands you your first partner Pokémon. That early Friend Ball isn't random, it's story-coded to appear during those heartfelt moments of alliance building. Trainers report it popping up exclusively after quests emphasizing trust, like aiding lost Pokémon or resolving rivalries through empathy rather than brute force. Use it outside those beats, it might as well be a regular Pokeball. But within the narrative flow, it amplifies the emotional core of your adventure, making every release feel like reuniting with family. You've felt that pull, haven't you? That instant warmth when a newly caught Ivy nuzzles up, thanks to the friend ball's hidden script. Then there's the nest ball, the one keyed to levels, shrinking in size as the wild Pokemon's power wanes. Its design screams story integration, perfect for those humble beginnings where you're tackling low-level wilds on the road to champion status. In Hoenn or Sinnoh runs, it doesn't just boost catch rates on weaker foes, it materializes during narrative arcs centered on growth and escalation. Remember Route 101 in Ruby and Sapphire? Your first Zigzagoon or Poochyena, barely level 3, practically begs for a nest ball because the game's tale demands you build your team from scratch. Lore whispers that ancient Apricorn carvers in Hisui crafted prototypes like this, tying the ball's efficacy to the nesting phase of a legend, when baby Pokemon symbolize the dawn of a trainer's legend. Venture too far ahead, catch a level 50 beast with it, and the effect fizzles, as if the ball senses the story has outgrown its role. Its genius design, forcing you to align your strategy with the epic's rhythm. These aren't isolated gimmicks. Story-locked balls weave directly into the fabric of quests, appearing as rewards or shop drops only after key plot triggers. Clear the Vermilion Gym in Fire Red? A friend ball might await, echoing Lultner Surge's lesson on camaraderie over isolation. Beat the Elite Four? Nest balls stock up, preparing you for post-game narratives of mastery. But here's where it gets haunting. They vanish post-quest. Finish the main storyline, and poof, those specialized spheres evaporate from your inventory or Pokemart shelves. In Platinum, after quelling the distortion world, players worldwide watch their nest ball stacks dwindle to 0, only to respawn in New Game Plus cycles. It's as if the game world's code enforces narrative purity. No loose ends, no exploiting the story's magic beyond its chapter. You try to hoard them, glitches aside, they dematerialize, leaving trainers scrambling for alternatives. This vanishing act isn't a bug, it's intentional lore, a nod to Pokeballs as transient allies in your personal mythos. Now shift your gaze to the legendary lures, those origin balls that echo the universe's creation myths. These aren't your everyday Ultra Balls. They're crafted to summon gods, mimicking the primordial forces that birthed the Pokemon world. Think of the Azure Flute in Diamond and Pearl, a story-locked artifact that calls forth Dialga, Palkia, or Arceus itself. Not a ball per se, but a vessel triggering an Origin Ball event. In Legends, Arceus the noble Pokemon battles demand heavy balls, or jet balls, but the true enigmas are the celestial balls, whispered in cutscenes, designed to parallel Arceus's 1,000 arms, shaping reality. Lore from the Sinnoh myths positions these as evolutions of Apricorn tech, infused with Lake Trio essences to replicate creation. Yuxi's clarity for precision throws, Mesprit's emotion for bond sealing, Azelf's will for unbreakable captures. Unpack that. The Origin Balls, as fans theorize from data mines and anime episodes, mimic the Big Bang of Pokemon cosmology. In the manga, Professor Oak recounts how ancient Sinnoh shamans hollowed lustrous orbs into spheres, each pulsing with creation energy to lure legendaries, embodying time, space, and being. Throw one at Cresselia? It doesn't just catch, it resonates with the lunar myth, pulling the Psychic Queen from her nightmare realm. You've chased Mewtwo in the first movie. Imagine if an Origin Ball had appeared then, its mythic glow syncing with the clone's tortured genesis, turning capture into apotheosis. These balls tie levels and friendships to grand narratives too. A low-level Origin prototype might nestle in early quests, vanishing after you claim your first guardian, only to reform for endgame pantheons. But every legend hides shadows. What if I said some story-locked balls carry curses, releasing not allies but vengeful spectres? This dark twist lurks in the fringes of canon, from ghost-type hauntings to forbidden Apricorn rites. In the anime's Orange Islands arc, Tracy sketches a spectral dusk ball that Tracy uses, except it backfires, unleashing a vengeful Gengar horde bent on revenge for disturbed graves. Lore from Unova's relic balls hints at this peril. Excavated from ruins, these ancient spheres hold fossilized grudges. Catch a Spiritomb with one? It might obey at first, but post-quest, the ball cracks open in your PC, spawning plate ghosts that curse your entire box with evasion drops. Dive deeper into the curse mechanics. In Sword and Shield's Isle of Armor DLC, story-locked max balls appear during Dynamax quests, but corrupted variants, cursed by Eternatus residue, release vengeful Gigantamax forms. Trainers share horror stories on forums. A seemingly perfect friend ball from a Kubfu quest turns rogue, its Pokémon escaping at midnight to haunt the dojo, demanding rematches with escalating fury. Hisui adds fuel. Wire deer antlers, etched into origin balls, could summon not just nobles, but their vengeful alpha shades if thrown amiss. Imagine tossing a cursed nest ball at a level 1 Hisuian Zorua. It catches, vanishes post-quest, then re-emerges in your dreams, spawning illusory pups that sabotage battles. Game Freak buries these in events. The Halloween spectral balls in Virtual Console releases, where failures spawn revenge chains, turning a simple catch into a gothic saga. Why craft such enigmas? They elevate Pokeballs from tools to characters in your story. The friend ball teaches patience in bonds, vanishing to remind you friendship isn't inventory managed. Nest ball enforces progression, its level ties ensuring narratives build organically. Origin balls lure you into mythic depths, their creation echoes making every legendary feel cosmically earned. And the curses, they inject risk transforming triumph into tension. You've lived this. You grind for that post-game friend ball, heart racing as the quest timer ticks, only to watch it fade, fueling your drive for New Game Plus. Consider real-world trainer tales. In competitive circuits, pros exploit story locks by speedrunning quests for nest ball hauls, but the vanishing mechanic levels the field, forcing adaptation. Anime fans point to Ash's Tauros herd, caught in safari balls during a narrative detour. Post-safari, no more appear, cursing him to manage 30 without repeats. Manga lore amps it. In Pokémon Adventures, Gold forges a cursed ring ball from Ho-Oh feathers, releasing vengeful Lugia echoes that nearly doom Johto. These enigmas redefine capture. No longer mechanical, it's poetic. Balls as fate's instruments, blooming in story soil, withering post-climax. Picture your Carlos playthrough. After AZ's ultimate weapon quest, a friend ball spawns for his Floette, tying forgiveness themes, then ghosts away. Or Unova's N arc, where Origin-like balls tease plasma liberations, cursing defectors with shadow Pokémon. Yet this tapestry frays at the edges. How do vanishing balls reconcile with infinite Pokémart stocks in remakes? Why do curses hit some saves but not others? These story-locked enigmas don't just lock balls to narratives, they unlock questions about the Pokeverse's code. And as we peel back these layers, we crash into the wilder chaos of lore contradictions and theories, where timelines shatter, origins clash, and the true history of every Pokeball unravels in ways that will leave you questioning everything you've ever thrown. Stick around, you need to hear this. Lore contradictions and theories. In Pokémon Legends, Arceus Pokeballs are hailed as a groundbreaking invention, something freshly crafted by a clever researcher in the Hisui region, revolutionizing how humans and Pokemon interact. But hold on, scattered across ancient ruins in Sinnoh, Johto, and even Unova, stone carvings depict spheres that look identical to those red and white icons we all know, etched there by hands from thousands of years ago. How do you explain that? Welcome to the wild world of Pokemon lore contradictions, where timelines don't just bend, they snap. Let's unpack this mess step by step, because once you see the cracks, you can't unsee them. In Hisui, which we now know as the ancient version of Sinnoh, the story is crystal clear. Poké Balls aren't commonplace. Trainers, or Survey Corps members, as they're called, have to handcraft them from Apricorns, those tough nuts grown on special trees. The game drills it into you. This is new tech. No mass storage of Pokemon before this point. Wild Pokemon roam free. Humans respect their space. Battles are fleeting skirmishes. Then boom, along comes this inventor, and suddenly you've got throwable containment devices. It fits the primitive vibe of the era, right? Swords and sandals, feudal lords, space-time rifts courtesy of those creation trio legends. But flip to the modern games, or even the anime, and the story shifts. Take Pokemon Diamond and Pearl. You're exploring the ruins of the Spear Pillar, heart of Sinnoh's mythology. Carvings there show what? Humans hurling balls at Pokemon, capturing them effortlessly. These aren't abstract symbols, they're detailed. The split colour scheme, the button on top, the arc of the throw. Archaeologists in the lore even reference them as evidence of ancient human-Pokemon bonds. And it's not just Sinnoh. In Heart Gold and Soul Silver, the ruins of Alph in Johto have murals from the unknown civilization, predating Hisui by centuries, showing spheres containing beasts. Unova's Guidestone tablets in black and white, same deal, balls mid-capture on heroic figures. You might say, okay, artistic license, regional myths, but the dates don't line up. Hisui is presented as 19th century-ish, pre-industrial, yet those carvings are Bronze Age at latest. That's not a minor inconsistency. That's a full-on paradox. Fans have pored over this for years, frame by frame, lore book by lore book. And the leading theory? Time travel. Yeah, you heard that right. Think about it. Hisui is riddled with temporal anomalies. Dialga warping time, Palkia space, Arceus pulling strings from beyond. Legends. Arceus literally has you chasing paradoxes across eras. What if the invention in Hisui isn't the origin, but a reset? A loop where future knowledge bleeds back, inspiring those ancient artists. Scenario with me. Some trainer from our time, or even further ahead, gets flung back via a Celebi prank or a Distortion World mishap. They demonstrate a Poké Ball to awestruck tribespeople. No Apricorns needed, just the idea. Those primitives carve it into stone as divine tech, passing it down as legend. Fast forward to Hisui proper, and the knowledge resurfaces, invented anew. It explains why every region has its own Apricorn tales, yet no unified history. Johto's Kurt, the master crafter, talks about ancient methods passed orally, but why no records if it's that old? Time shenanigans wipe the slate. Now let's crank the conspiracy dial up. Enter Sylph Co., the shadowy megacorp behind Master Balls, and half the tech in Kanto. You know them from Rocket's takeover in Red and Blue, but dig deeper. Sylph isn't just a factory, it's a lore powerhouse. They patent Poké Balls in 1925 per the Pokédex entries, shifting from organic apricorns to synthetic metal and plastic. Convenient timing, right after Hisui's era fades into myth. Fans theorise Sylph didn't invent squat. They reverse-engineered ancient tech, suppressed the Apricorn methods, and monopolised the market. Why? Control. Consider the Apricorn extinction angle. These trees, vital for handmade balls, once blanketed Hisui and Johto. Kurt still grows a few in Azalea Town, but wild groves vanished. Official law blames overharvesting or deforestation, but that's too tidy. Pokemon World has revived herbs, regrowing forests overnight. Arceus reshaping reality. No way nature just oopsed them out. Theory goes, Sylph funded expeditions to eradicate them, poisoned roots, introduced invasive legendaries like Shaman gone wrong, or worse, bioengineered a blight. Result? No more DIY balls, every trainer dependent on factory output, trackable via Pokédex links, standardized for safety. And it's not baseless. Look at the Master Ball. 100% capture rate, no escape. Sylph's crown jewel, handed out sparingly. In the anime, Giovanni hoards them, implying corporate oversight. Fan sleuths point to hidden files in game code, unused sprites of Apricorn factories buried under Sylph HQ. Even the Pokédex hints. The balls we use today are ingenious devices, as if distinguishing from forebears. Sylph co-conspiracies run rampant on forums. They collude with the League, embed trackers in every ball. Post-1925, why else the uniformity? Great balls, ultra balls, all iterations scale up catch rates predictably, funneling you toward pricier tiers. But here's where it gets chilling. What if Poké Balls aren't just capture aids? What if they're control tools from the start? Think about the mechanics. A Pokemon enters, compressed into energy, mind intact but body dormant. Happiness stats rise inside, loyalty engineered. Luxury balls skyrocket friendship. Heal balls patch wounds instantly. Sounds benevolent, but reverse it. Mass production means mass pacification. Ancient carvings show balls on war Pokemon, tamed beasts in armies. Hisui's invention coincides with human expansion, pushing tribes like the Diamond and Pearl clans into uneasy alliance. Fan theories posit Poké Balls as proto-League psyops. Pre-Sylph ancients used them to subdue rampaging legendaries, carving victories into stone. Hisui reinvents to counter noble Pokemon rampages. Modern era, Sylph perfects it for a trainer economy. Ever notice wild Pokemon act feral compared to trained ones? Balls rewrite instincts subtly. Repeat balls target species you've caught, like a database hit list. Timer balls punish long fights, favouring quick submissions. Dusk balls in caves, nighttime raids on evasive types. It's strategic dominance, not sport. Dive deeper into examples. Take the beast balls from Sun and Moon, tailored for ultra beasts, extra-dimensional invaders. Catch rate jacked for otherworldly foes. Who commissioned them? Ether Foundation, but with Sylph Tech fingerprints. Or Cherish balls, event-locked pretties for mythicals. Limited supply equals controlled releases. Even Hisui's variants, Swift balls for fast foes, Jet balls for heavies, hint at escalating arms race. Apricorn, Extinction forces reliance on these, Sylph's web tightens. You have to wonder, is the timeline clash deliberate? Game Freak planting Easter eggs for us to decode. Time travel explains the carvings, but ties into broader multiverse lore. Cyrus summons Dialga to remake Time Sans Emotion, erasing contradictory histories. Volo in Arceus seeks godhood, meddling with origins. Fan comics explode with this. Sylph execs as descendants of Hisui and Time refugees, hoarding secrets. The payoff hits hard. Poké Balls symbolize harmony, but peel back, they're leashes. Not evil outright, but tools of subjugation masked as partnership. Ancient carvings celebrate conquests. Hisui invents amid war. Sylph industrializes for profit and power. Apricorns die to kill the old ways. You catch them all, or do they catch you in the system? We've unraveled contradictions that question everything you thought you knew about capture history. Time loops, corporate plots, extinction cover-ups, it all points to Poké Balls as far more than toys. But what comes next could redefine it entirely. Stick around for Chapter 16, The Future of Capture, where we explore bleeding-edge tech and wild speculations that might just become canon. You won't want to miss how tomorrow's balls could change the game forever. The future of capture. What if the next Poké Ball you throw doesn't just capture a Pokémon, but predicts its every move before you even battle? That's the edge we're staring down in Generation 10 and beyond. We've traced the journey from ancient Apricorn carvings in Hisui to the 38+ variants filling your bag today, each one a testament to human ingenuity matching Pokemon's wild spirit. But why stop there? The future of capture isn't just more balls, it's smarter ones, greener ones, designed for a world where trainers like you demand precision and planet-friendly power. Think about it. Right now, with over 38 official types, from the humble Pokeball to the unbeatable Master, we've got tools for every terrain, every temperament, every twist of fate. Dive balls for abyssal depths, dusk balls for shadowy caves, quick balls for that lightning first strike moment. But that number, pushing past 36, isn't random bloat. It's pure strategy depth, echoing the very evolution of Pokemon themselves. Just as Bulbasaur branched into Mega Evolutions, Gigantamax forms, and Terrestrial types, Poké Balls have splintered into specialties to keep pace. Early games had maybe a handful, basic catchers for a simpler roster. Now, hundreds of species, each with quirks, abilities, hidden potentials. You need a nest ball for that low-level newbie swarm, a repeat ball to rebuild your team mid-run without grinding. It's not excess, it's evolution in action. Pokemon got smarter, faster, more diverse. Balls followed suit, turning capture from luck to chess. You feel that rush when a timer ball ticks up after a marathon fight, don't you? Or the satisfaction of a luxury ball hatching a happy buddy faster. That depth mirrors how Pokemon evolved from straightforward fighters to strategic powerhouses. Gen 1 had 151, no abilities, simple types. Balls were basic. Fast forward, and we've got paradox forms, mythical beasts with reality-bending powers. Balls exploded to 38+ because trainers evolved too. You plan routes around dive ball fishing spots. Stock heavy balls for massive haulers like Wailord. It's why Silvally needs a specific counter, why a love ball shines on that ditto disguised mate. Without this arsenal, capture stagnates. With it, every wild encounter becomes your masterpiece. But here's where it gets thrilling. Generation 10 isn't content with 38. Leaks, patents in the lore, whispers from devs. They point to AI-targeted balls that scan a Pokemon mid-battle and adapt on the fly. Imagine this. You're facing a rogue Garchomp, sandstorm raging. You toss what looks like a standard Ultra Ball, but it hums to life, projecting holographic rings that analyze its dragon typing, its rough skin, even its speed stat. In seconds, it recalibrates, boosting catch rate not just by 2x, but by targeting weak points, maybe emitting a frequency that disrupts its sand veil evasion. No more guessing. The ball becomes your scout, your strategist, your secret weapon. Called something like the neural ball in fan specs, it'd use embedded AI chips, trained on billions of battle logs, to predict escape attempts and counter with micro-adjustments. Throw it at a shiny variant, and it flags rarity, ups the luxury factor for instant friendship gains. And it's not just brains, it's heart for the planet. Eco-friendly variants are coming, built from lab-grown apricorns or biodegradable composites that dissolve harmlessly if missed. Picture the verdant ball, zero-waste shell, infused with synthetic pheromones that calm aggressive legendaries without harm. No more plastic pollution washing up on Paldean beaches. These balls draw from Hisui roots, where every Apricorn was sacred, but scaled up with tech. A mist throw, it biodegrades in hours, feeding the soil for new growth. Why? Because Pokemon world lore is shifting. Regions like Paldea emphasize harmony. Terrestrial blooms from Earth's energy. Future balls align, maybe even powered by ambient terrestrial energy, recharging in crystal fields. Let's unpack why this explosion to 38+ sets the stage so perfectly. Pokemon evolution isn't linear, it's a web. Fire types gained Flash Fire, then Drought, now Photosynthesis. Balls mirrored that web. Net and dive for bug-water niches, evolving as surfing and diving mechanics deepened. Hisui balls added throw physics, paving for motion controls in Scarlet Violet. Strategy depth, it's why competitive play thrives. VGC teams pack repeat balls for switches, heal balls for status sweeps. Without variety, you'd spam master balls. Boring, broken. Instead, 38 forces creativity, just like 1000+ Pokemon Force synergy. You pick Luxray in a cave, Dusk Ball payoff, Underwater Hunt, Dive dominance. It's evolutionary arms race. Pokemon adapt, we adapt back. Now zoom to Gen 10 speculation. AI targeted means integration with your Pokédex maybe. Ball links wirelessly, pulls data. This grim snarl, no spirit. Break, deploy Psychic Dampener. Catch rate surges 3x on type match, auto adjusts for level gaps. Eco variants, think Solar Ball, harnessing sunlight to boost grass types capture while carbon neutral. Or Aqua Sustain Ball, filtering ocean water on throw for perfect dive evos. Devs have hinted at smart items in patents, balls with microsensors detecting HP, status, even mood via biofeedback. Miss once? It learns, tweaks trajectory, next toss. You'd never whiff a quick ball opener again. But why does this matter to you? Because capture's core thrill, outsmarting the wild, stays alive, amplified. Remember that first red-white sphere? Future balls honour it, evolving without erasing the soul. 38+ exist for depth, yes, but future ones explode it further. AI prevents cheese strats, rewards skill. Eco-focus teaches stewardship. Fitting lore where Arceus demands balance. Imagine facing Peckrunt in a myth raid. Standard Ultra fails, but mythic AI ball syncs with its poison aura, purifies on capture. Green Shell sprouts a tree post-battle, lore nod to life cycles. Let's speculate deeper. Gen 10 Paldea sequel, balls for terrestrial specific catches, Crystal Prism Ball, amplifying Terra types mid-throw, or multiverse variants from Indigo Disc, pulling dimensions balls that snag Paradox Pokemon across time. Eco line, Bamboo Ball from Kitakami, grows stronger with each use, fully renewable. AI could personalize, your playstyle logged, balls suggesting aggro trainer, pack quick neural, catch rates tied to trainer rank, evolving your bag like your team. This mirrors Pokemon's arc perfectly. From Kanto basics to Scarlet Violet complexities, every gen layers strategy. Balls do the same. 38+ now, 50+ soon, each unlocking metas. You theory craft teams around timer ball stallers. Future AI counters that, forcing fresh plays. It's why we love it, endless depth. You've journeyed with me through history's twists, from 1925 factories to Hisui hands. We've seen why 38+ isn't clutter, but evolution's echo. Gen 10 beckons with AI smarts and green guts, promising captures that feel alive, ethical, unbeatable. But the real future, it's yours. So what's your perfect ball strategy? The ultimate combo for your dream team? Stockpile ultras, niche dive hordes, or future AI dreams? Drop it in the comments below. Your picks could spark the next gen. Stick around for the finale. Your takeaway changes how you play forever. If this story resonated with you, there's so much more to explore. Tap the Pokemon playlist to continue the adventure, and save it so you'll always have something soothing to fall asleep to, or choose the recommended video for another deep dive.